Hello, I am Asheron, and welcome to my study. And for some reason, OBS forgot what mic I was using, so I did the opening like 20 seconds ago, probably a little bit more, and I saw it wasn't being picked up on the mic thing. I had to go and fix that. Anyways, technical issues aside, we are going to be playing Asheron's Call again, but today I'm wanting to play on a public server, not just my own private server. Now, there are multiple reasons for this, namely that you can only get so far in Asheron's Call playing alone, and sometimes you just feel in the mood to play completely just by yourself, but a lot of the time it's like you just kind of feel limited because there's a lot of quests that require 2 or more people. So I kind of felt like it would be a good idea to try to go in and play on Levistras, which is, as far as I can tell, the biggest populated no botting server. Also, the monitor's kind of small because it's just how Asheron's Call is. It gets bigger when we get into the game, but during character creation it's gonna be kind of tiny, and there's not much I can do about that without readjusting everything a lot. So we're just gonna deal with it for the time being. Character creation shouldn't take that long. But I think I was doing some contemplation, and I mean pretty much anything would work out pretty well, I think, because I could go for two-handed like my main character is on my like my own private server, but I think pretty much every time I play one of these games, and by one of these games I mean an Asheron's Call server, I almost always start out with a war mage, just because they end up being very versatile in the late game, and they can buff themselves, which makes them a very good first character when you don't have any other like framework set up. You don't have any hand-me-down armor, you don't have any other account with a buff bot on it or anything like that. So as a first character, someone who can buff themselves is usually a safe bet. So we're gonna go with a war mage. So we need war magic, life magic, trained, mana conversion, and usually that's about all you can get. It's just specialized war magic, mana conversion, trained life magic. You're out of points, which is always just so sad. But sometimes I specialize life magic and can't even get mana conversion, so this usually ends up better. But we don't have melee defense, we don't have anything, so it is always it's kind of weird. We're also gonna go for full focus and self, of course, but also full endurance. Now, generally, back in the day, I used to get like some strength, some cordon quick for melee defense, but I kind of realized at some point that endurance has a bunch of hidden benefits. Because like on the surface, it's like, oh yeah, it raises your health, it raises your stamina, it, I think, contributes to like weapon tinkering. That's about it. But under the surface, endurance actually, yeah, even here it just says the more health and stamina you have based on your endurance, but it actually, apparently, from what I've read and seen, is that it buffs your like natural defenses. I don't know if it affects natural armor per se, but it definitely affects like drain resistance and stuff like that, which is very good. And there was a couple other things it did behind the scenes, just like how quickness not only yeah, but here it does say the faster you attack in combat with more quickness, but with the quickness, it really, on the surface, it looks like, oh, well, that'll increase your run, and what is increased jump? No. But it increases your run, so you move faster, and then melee defense, of course. And on the surface, that's what it looks like all it does. But anybody who's played a melee character will tell you that they attack a lot faster when they've invested heavily into quickness later in the game. Like, at the very start of the game at level 5, you're attacking like you're attacking through molasses or something. So it's definitely nice to have quickness as a melee person because it has that kind of hidden bonus that it buffs your attack speed. And that's kind of what endurance does, is that it has like so many different hidden benefits to it that I kind of like to have a lot of it, especially because as a mage, you kind of end up using stamina and health a lot because you need the health to survive, but you most importantly need the stamina for stamina to mana. And if you don't have a good amount of stamina, you're just going to be stuck cycling through, stamina to mana and then restore stamina spells over and over and over again, which is no good. Let's see. I guess dark brown. I don't know. I'm just making the like general character that I usually make, which is because in way back on the live servers when I used to play there, I had one character that was kind of a hand-me-down character actually. And my dad, who introduced me to the game in the first place, gave me the character. And yeah, we'll start in Iraq. And I pretty much always make my new main characters after that character. Let's see. We just make this me. And I think I did everything right. We got our attributes, no skill credits, and then everything else is done. Okay. Should be good. If it's not, then that sucks. Oh, but I was gonna say, the weird thing about mages and all of our stuff is absolutely Hey, I typed it right. That's good. And let me go into this. Okay, this is all good, I think. Probably. Alright, put these over here. I was about to say something again. I think I've like cut myself off probably 3 times. Let me turn off the BGM now because there's actual volume, not that it's very loud. Without background music, Asheron's Call is kind of a chill game volume-wise. Was it something about endurance? I don't think it was. Oh yeah, it's odd about mages because every other type of character is like a lot more, I guess, easier, just a lot easier right at the start of the game, whereas mages are always hardest in the early game because like melees will be just ripping and tearing through pretty much everything in their path. But then a mage, it's like you don't have good spells, you don't have good attributes, you don't have good these, the main magic skills. You don't even usually get like, where is it? Would it be down here? Yeah. You don't even get good item or creature enchantment until like mid 30s sometimes because you just don't have enough skill credits, and then you can't specialize anything until even later, especially if you're wanting defenses. Because I need like 10 for this, 8 for this, 8 for this, and then we'll be up to like a decent point. But 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 10 is 26, so I need to get 26 skill credits before I can be up to like having all my main skills. It's kind of sucky. So starting out on a mage is a little difficult. It's a little bit of a challenge. So that I do kind of like that though. But let's talk to Jonathan and get heading through. Just because I've done the academy so very many times, I don't need a tutorial for this game. Not necessarily. Because, we've been through it before. We know what we're doing. We don't need this on a hotkey because spells use hotkeys. We won't need this, nor like anything else. Let's just go through the motions here, get our few free levels. But it is kind of surprising because there are a lot of games that I've played a lot in my life, such as, Skyrim and World of Warcraft and other such games that I end up getting really sick and tired of the opening sequences of the games, like especially with Skyrim. Like one of the first mods that I got was the alternate start mod, so I could just kind of not deal with it and just skip past the opening every time. But after a while, it's just the start of games gets boring. But with Asheron's Call, I've never gotten to that point. It's always one of my favorite portions of the game. I really like pretty much all of the different facets of the early game. Additionally, I should probably go into Fellowship and do that just for the future whenever I might be grouping up with someone. I know RPG Ash was on here last stream and he was saying that he might join us on here. You can't put that in the container, of course. Can I grab this? Yeah. Another issue with being a mage and starting with like no strength. To really pump up those numbers here. And because the robe also gives us strength, we have enough to pick it all up. Good. Alright, we're remembering to put these on. I always forget that. I'm always like, I'm a mage. I don't need the armor. I'll just give it to the person. And then I give the helmet and gloves away. And then I sit there and regret all my life decisions because it's like, why did I do that? I need those. Alright. So first difference, well, first major difference on the server from my server, which is mostly vanilla, is that the rewards for turning back in the Pathwarden gear is different. So I think these are like death items. There's a pyro mote, which is useful, and you get a writ of refuge, which is really nice for getting your first cottage eventually. But let's go give this person all of our starting stuff we don't need. I think you can sell the coat. Here, have some free bread. I don't need it. So that's good. Let's put this down there somewhere. And I probably want daylight outdoors always, just because it's easier to see. I'm kind of torn on that one though, because back in the day, I used to always have it on because it was just easier visibility overall. But in more recent years, it's like the day night cycle is a really kind of unique thing about the game. And I almost feel like it's a shame to have it always be daylight and get rid of that aspect of it because it is very nice. Let's see, containers. I'm probably going to need more of these foci, at least two more, so we'll leave that like that, or put these there so all the foci are at the bottom. Alright, well, generic mage type thing, we are pretty much ready to go. Can you cast spells from here? No. Ooh, I actually didn't know that. You can double click something here and it puts it on your bar. Not that that's super useful, but definitely something I did not realize I could do. We do have mana conversion, so we should be fine without stamina to mana for now. So let's just get into it. I think I'm gonna do what I usually do, which is to have each one of my bars be a separate element. So then heal, we did force, and then probably flame, and then frost, and then lightning, and then acid. And then this last one is for item enchantment like portal magic and stuff like that. But this just helps me compartmentalize the different elements a lot easier so that my attacks are always on the same buttons. But we do not have any actual like defensive capabilities. We just have health. That is also a good reason to have a lot of endurance right at the start. Is because you have absolutely no. I need to increase my actual skills, don't I? Yeah. Because yeah, if I fizzle a healing spell, that is not going to be enjoyable, especially at this level. So let's just go trial by fire. It's always risky when you're starting out a new mage. It's like, are you gonna be able to hit the enemies? Are you gonna be able to heal? Are the enemies gonna obliterate you? Who knows? Okay, they're not doing too much damage, which is good. I actually remembered to keep my armor, which is also good. But until we get those 10 skill credits, we're gonna be hurting. Can you keybind something to a mouse key in this? I don't know, because I was just thinking it would be really useful. Because right now I have return to regular camera on right control, because it wasn't being used for anything else. I didn't get... I don't think we need the Cove Apple. We're fine. That doesn't even give XP. Uh, but if we could set, like, reset camera to a mouse button, that might actually be more efficient. So where is move camera to default? Why is that set to nothing? I know for sure the right control does that. Oh, that's alternate camera mode. What does that mean? Who knows? But either way, move camera to default, right control, and you can have multiple mappings. Button 3. So does that work? It does. Okay. So now I can use one of my uh custom mouse buttons. There's like 2 configurable buttons on the side of it. And I can now use that to reset the camera, which is a bit easier than hitting the control button each time. So let's just go straight in. We are very slow. We need to we need some points in quickness eventually. Put a few in and run should be that's not that cheap. We need more XP first. We'll do our first quest and get to that. But nothing in here should be an issue if we were able to take that big group that was outside. But yeah. War Mage is definitely like a it's almost a comfort zone for me, you know? I've just played it so much throughout my life because back in the day, my first major character in Asheron's Call at all, because when I first started playing, I was very young. You know, I pretty much there are pictures of me being like I don't know, 4 years old or something, just barely old enough to really hold the mouse and conceive what's going on the screen. And I was like standing on top of a chair, standing at the desk because, you know, it was too short to actually be at the desk at the time. Uh, but I was little small thing. I was tiny little baby person. And I was playing Asheron's Call. And so, for the most part, I wasn't able to really process what was happening, and thus I wasn't good at the game. And so none of my characters ever made it very high level. I barely ever made it past the first couple quests, probably at that point. But what was important was that after a certain point, after all that trial and error and growing up with the game, I eventually learned how to do it. And what came out of that was that I finally had my first major character, and I named them Ringo. Uh, and you would think that it would be like, oh, well, you know, it was a famous band member Ringo and stuff like that. But no, I named it because in SpongeBob, there was this one joke where Patrick couldn't remember the word Roger when he was on the like on a walkie-talkie and ended up saying Ringo instead. And Kid Me was like, "Ah, yes, this is the perfect reference to make when naming my character." And thus my character was Ringo apostrophe, because Ringo was taken. So Ringo apostrophe was born. And they were a mace user for the first long time. And I played them until I think they were well over level 100. They had the ninja armor. And so I think was the ninja armor like 120 requirement or something, 130, somewhere in there. And after a long time, they eventually switched over to the like light, finesse, and heavy weapons that they have now instead of, mace weapons. So I was kind of upset about that because all of a sudden my extensive mace collection, I'd gotten pretty much every quest mace in the game at that point. But my mace collection was broken up, and I was kind of devastated by that. I was like, why would they do this to me? And yeah, it was a sad day. So I switched over to missile weapons after that, which is one of my favorite things about the game, is that like if I level up this character and eventually figure out, hey, in multiplayer with like other people and big quests and stuff, there's no market for mages, I could pretty easily just spend maybe a couple weeks, because I think it's like a 1 week timer on it or something. But I could just go and reset all my skills to nothingness and reallocate all of my base attributes. And I could make this character at like level 200 into... Why am I using cold against a rat? We don't care. We're low enough level, it doesn't matter. Um, I could turn this character into like a melee character. I could go two-handed if I wanted. Pretty much just on a whim. And sure, I'd lose all my wands, which would suck. But, for the most part, it wouldn't be an issue at all. Which is pretty cool if you ask me. It's not like in WoW where you start out with a rogue and later on you're still a rogue. You can't really go just be like, hey, I want to be a paladin now. Man, I'm getting really lucky with trophies. So yeah, I definitely like that part of Asheron's Call, that you can just kind of fully customize the character at any point in the game. You can do whatever you want. But I don't know. Why was I talking about Ringo? I was saying something about him. It was like my first major character. Oh yeah, and that character, it took a long time to get him up to like level 100 something. Very long time. And I had no idea what I was doing, and it probably involved a lot of macroing, because back in the day, my dad and I, we did do the macroing. Nowadays, I'm not so much a fan of it, but back then it was just kind of, that's just how we played the game. Get those down there. And so, but at a certain point, for some reason, I still don't remember why or how, but my dad had a character on my account, or he might have transferred it over. I don't know if character transfers existed in Asheron's Call back then, or at all. I know in WoW you can transfer characters over, and he also did that in WoW. But he gifted all my siblings and I our own high-level mage characters because he had them on our accounts. I think he had them on our accounts for macroing purposes, because, I mean, he had all of these... Do I have all the items? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. I was like, there should be 8. I was like, where's the apple? Okay. So yeah, he had all these accounts that he was paying for. So he, I think, had just one character on each account that he could macro overnight. And that ended up being, for me, a character named 16. I don't know why the character was named that. It's just a number, but that's what he named the character. And then he ended up kind of transferring ownership of that character over to me. And that was great, because then I had, like, I think I got access to that character when she was around level, I don't know, 180, 190. somewhere in the like early end game. And that was kind of groundbreaking because my highest level character was only like early hundreds still at that point. But it was pretty great. And I used that character and kind of made them my own right by the end of it. And I think she got to, I seem to remember 236 or maybe higher. It might have been higher because at the end with macros and stipends, we kind of got high level pretty fast. But yeah, after that point, I kind of always made my main character on most servers a war mage just like 16 because that was just what I was used to as, playing a high level character mage. I don't need your bulletin. Okay. For a second, I thought he was going to give me another pie, but I remember that's the regular cove apple, not the perfect cove apple that gives you a pie. I'm probably just going to sell the pies anyway. Because, I mean, 15 health, that's just like one healing spell. I don't need that. Hmm. I wonder if it would be worth it to get cooking on a mage. Because, I mean, it's not perfect. But in theory, if you got all of your life magic spells by by way of armor and other such buffs, you could very easily just supplement all of your stamina and mana and health just through foods if you had cooking. Because you can, well, you would also need another character with alchemy probably, because you need to be able to make like the healing and mana infusions and all that. But if you did, you could make like, I think it's the like complex rations or something. You could make those rations fairly easily, I think. And those restore like 100 of each resource or whatever resource it is that it's for, which would be really quite good. So that might be plausible. I'm not doing that on this character, but I was just brainstorming because I was just thinking about how much I'm gonna miss just being able to have the rations on my bar that I can press a button and get most of my stamina back in a second. Because it's good stuff. But let's see. We definitely want more run, so we don't feel as sluggish here. Our quickness already pretty expensive. Let's increase the focus and stealth up. Let's increase endurance, coordination. Why not? Might increase quickness again. Strength is already up pretty high. Might need some arcane lore eventually, and then a bunch of war magic, just so they don't resist me anymore. All right, out to the tower, and this time I need to not forget the dagger. Because when I was playing with my friend, showing him the game, when we did this quest, I completely forgot to go over that way and get the dagger for the guy, or from the guy for the person in the bar. Is it the bar? Yeah, I think so. So I need to not forget that, because this is kind of a long run just for that. Is Water Wisp weak to cold or fire? I think it's cold. Or maybe neither of them. Nope, definitely not cold. Let's try fire. Fire works. I think most wisps might be just weak to physical damage. I don't quite remember. I generally avoid fighting wisps whenever I can. I hate them. They cast too many spells. But luckily, with how this character's built, spells are not going to be an issue at all. Mainly because the best way to avoid spells is just, have enough health to tank them. because there eventually spells are going to hit you, and especially if you don't have something to negate spell damage, you are going to lose like half your health. So you just need to have so much health that you can tank it and still heal. And that is kind of my biggest issue with two-handed combat, is that there's literally just no way to negate any kind of damage. Or any normal damage, you know, you have armor, you have buffs. But when it comes to like magic damage specifically, you know, if you have shield skill, you have the sanguinary aegis. If you have war magic skill, you have the tomes from the different alternate currency places that you can use. If you have, even if you're an archer, you have the, I think it's the fetish of dark idols, which is kind of a long quest. I've done it before. It's a bit of a hassle, but you know, it's still something. And all of those will reduce the magic damage you take by like 10% or thereabouts. And so it's like, as a two-handed person, as far as I know, there's just nothing you can do aside from, of course, specializing magic defense. If you specialize magic defense, anybody can have a certain amount of, not immunity, but damage reduction from all magic, I think. Because I think it was like one damage or one magic damage resist rating per 100 skill, or maybe per 50 skill in magic defense. It was something like that. So, not very much, but certainly a welcome thing, and I would say worth specializing magic defense over. Just because magic is pretty much the only thing that ever gets me killed in this game. Usually. I'm sure there's exceptions. I've probably gotten killed by other things before. Now, can I kill you through this window like I normally do? Seems like it. There we go. Because I do not have lockpicking, and I actually am not sure if you can get through this dungeon without it. Let's see, where does this drop us? Just outside the crypt? Okay. So let's try to get to about level 20 today. I don't know if we'll be able to, but I'm already level 11. Because yeah, on my server I have quest XP boosted, but here, of course, they do not. So I am not exactly sure how long it's going to take us to level up, but hopefully we have fun doing it, because that's what's important. Let's see. What is it for reed sharks? I think it's either... It's one of the physical damage types, right? I think it's piercing, but I'm not certain. I don't fight them very often. Does decent damage either way. Let's try bludgeoning. Does about the same. Actually, a bit worse. No, about the same. I think it just crit that one time. Ooh, minor life magic. I mean, its stats are... magic defense is pretty nice. Yeah, its stats are kind of horrific. But a minor aptitude this early is pretty cool. Didn't think I'd find one of those just yet. And trying to find corpses in the water is just torturous. I mean, unless I use next item, but even so, not a fan. We're just gonna... It's probably not... They probably have nothing on them. They're just stupid reed sharks. They don't have loot. It's fine. Let's lifestone out of here. Man, but there are some people on this server that are like real high level, like in the very, very end game. And it's very impressive to me. Because even on my server, like, I've gotten to a point... I've played those characters a lot, and yet I've gotten to a point that it's just like I don't know how to progress on them. It's very difficult after a certain point, and really without any macroing to be able to get. I think it was on this server. I saw a picture of someone. I think it was an archer that had. Is it you that wants the dagger? No, it's you. I knew it was in this room, but I didn't remember who it was. Yeah, so you take that, and then I think no, it's not this one. It's these stairs over here. But yeah, I saw an image. I think of someone on this server who had like 3 level 5 red Aetheria and a level 5 cloak, and it's like, I, to be fair, I don't sit around like the super high level areas and just farm enemies all day, but I feel like I've never seen a level 5 red Aetheria in person. Oh, I didn't give the head. Here, take it. Um, so to have 3 level 5 red Aetheria and to have them actually have the correct things that you want from them is just absolutely insane. Like, how did they do that? I don't know if I'll ever get to that point on this server, but I can try my best for sure. And at least have somebody like 50 plus on the server, because that's when you start to get the character to a point where it's like, okay, we kind of know what we're doing. We have something established here. Because I already have a good number of high level characters on Reef Cull and on my server, and to have kind of just like a foothold on Levistras that I can, if I want to play on here at any point, I'll have higher level characters to play. That would be nice. Let's go give these to the town crier. Well, the town crier's way over there. What town are we going to next? Because that's kind of the main starting quests around here. So let's go to Shoshi. I usually don't. Shoshi is usually the last one I go to, but let's go there. And actually, no, it's way too much work. I was gonna say there's a quest in Sanamar that has you go to all 4 starting towns and do a, I think, unique quest for each of the main people, like the main quest givers in the town. But as I said, I feel like that's a bit too much work to be worth the kind of meager rewards it gives. So let's go. First of all, there's the Shreth Hive. I think that's where you do the Blood Shreth quest, right? No, Cave of Alabari is where you do the Blood Shreth. The Shreth Hive is not it. Let's do Mansion Ruin. I wish I could do the House of Pancakes, but sadly no. So yeah, let's do the Mansion Ruin, and I know there's another one somewhere around here. Man, it's been far too long since I've done the Shoshi starting quests. Because yeah, it's kind of difficult to remember what order everything is in. I know there's the Mansion Ruin here. This is the collect 8 items. I think what is it? Because this person's house, I remember there's somebody that tells you to go and deliver something to them. But then you talk to them and they tell you to go into the stone cathedral and get them something from in there. And then in there, is that where the stones you're supposed to get are? I don't quite remember. We'll head over there next. But first to this place, which this place is kind of scary. Get a little bit more HP. Probably more focus and self. Just barely enough for that. Alright. The only reason this place is scary is because Fintos Wasps. Early game Fintos Wasps are some of the only enemies that cast spells, and it's kinda, you know, intimidating. But they give wasp wings, so I'm happy about that. And I keep instinctively hitting control instead of the new mouse button that I bound to it. And you know, just while we're on the topic, I'm actually kind of impressed. I mean, we weren't on the topic, but I was going to mention that I'm kind of impressed. These are acid, right? I think so. I don't quite remember. I don't fight Shreths in the late game very much because they're sadly kind of forgotten about. But the keybinding system in this game is surprisingly robust. You know, I mean, even modern games, you don't see it a lot that you can put 3 different key bindings for the same actions. That's, you know, surprisingly well constructed for an older game. I don't remember if it was bludgeoning. I think it was bludgeoning. That was good against wasps. It might be slashing though. It was one of the physical ones. Okay, Manuga. Is Manuga acid or lightning? It was one or the other, I'm pretty sure. Well, let's try one, and if it does no damage, we'll know. Let's try lightning first, because I don't think it was lightning. 28. 20. Let's get a second opinion here. 22. Might be lightning. I didn't think it was. But it did do 28, whereas the acid in both of its attacks only did around 20. I could always check on my server, because I do have admin privileges on there. So I could just like summon in a Manuga, copy down its file, and then look in the file for its exact resistance ratings, but what's the fun of that? So long as I remember well enough, it's probably okay. Alright, you are definitely fire, which is here. Back to bludgeoning for more wasps. I'm just glad we're not down to the green wasps yet. That's like probably one of the reasons why I don't go to Shoshi very often is because of the green wasps at the bottom of this dungeon. Because those things are kind of like the water golems in the beacon. They're kind of that first thing that really stops you if you're too low level for the dungeon. Everything else can kind of be circumvented and fought through with enough dedication, but if you get one shot by a spell early in the game, that's... you just can't really get past that very easily. Alright, don't use control. Just use the mouse button. I should probably heal. Alright, we also don't have any money for the fire is not what I use it into. Well, it didn't do bad damage. Which actually, fire did more damage than bludgeoning is right now. So it might be that slashing was better against them. I don't think they're entirely weak to fire. I think I would remember that. I don't know. There's also, like, certain entire, like, families of enemies are usually weak against one thing, but there are sometimes exceptions. Though I can't see why a red Fintos Wasp would be the exception with it being weak to fire. That seems a little odd. Unless the wasps are, like, gimmicky, that they're kind of always the color of an element, and their weakness is the opposite of that element. Or their weakness is what element they're the color of. I don't know. I don't think that's it, though. Because I'm pretty sure, all in all, wasps are usually just weak to physical damage types. But I haven't checked. I should probably at some point check what red Fintos wasps are weak to, because that just does not seem right. Oh boy, mana conversion. I am kind of burning through some mana, which is surprising. Alright, but after these guys, we get to the difficult stuff. Why you gotta resist my spells? I don't appreciate it. Grab the trident. Hopefully I'm not overburdened. Not yet. We're fine. Alright, let's heal up all the way. Now, if the theory of they're always weak to the thing their color is, then that means that acid would be good against these green ones. But I doubt that's what it is. Yeah, no. Bludgeoning kills it. Ooh, green wing. Nice. Let's try bludgeoning. Or no, let's try slashing against this next one, because it might be slashing is best against them. Because, you know, they got wings. 19. And it's dead. We'll try bludgeoning against the next one and see just what sheer damage it does. I'm not sure. And you guys are these guys. Man, we're leveling up a lot. That's another thing that I like about the early game. You get a lot of those little dopamine hits of just, oh boy, I leveled. Which is, you know, it's very important. So let's see, we're gonna try bludgeoning and just see what damage this does exactly. The issue is that there's variance. Parity, yeah. Bludgeoning seems to be the right way to go. I remembered correctly-ish. How'd you just fly right through my spell? It's very rude. Okay, destroy all these guys. Getting a little low health, but we're fine. Use the mouse button. Use it. Need to remember that. Do we need this? I don't think we need this. Yeah, no, none of these are the quest item. Right, and here the quest item was in this corner, right? Yeah. I always go over into that corner first because that's just where I always think it'll be. So we don't have 8 items from here yet. I don't remember where the rest are. It has been a long time. Maybe it was only 6 items from this. Or maybe I did, no, I did pick up more. There's a gem. So we're only missing 1, possibly. What is it that we are missing? Hey, Ebos. How's it going? Good to see you. I am missing an item, and I do not know which item it is I am missing. Because I don't do this quest super often. Which one is it? Nothing in this room. You can do next item. There's just going to be a lot of corpses of enemies. And a trident. That doesn't help. Almost the weekend. That is true. What day is it? Oh, the Qatar. It's over in here. I forgot it. Nice. I got it. We're good. Yeah, what day is it? Is it Friday? No. Thursday? Thursday, right? Probably. Yeah, I think it's Thursday. Because yesterday was Wednesday. Let's see, which way's town? This way. I Could have used my eyeballs. It's right there. But that sounds fun. We'll turn in this quest to go down there. Yeah, so tomorrow's Friday, where I stream, and then Saturday, where I also stream. And then's my weekend, which is Sunday. And then it's Monday again. So that'll be great. Let's see. I turn these in there, right? I'm trying to, process and remember where all this stuff is. We got a lot of wings. Very nice. Yeah, this guy. Here's all your stuff in no particular order. Hmm. Oh yeah, and this is the guy that gives us the directions to the house. We can talk to the lady with the drudge. I remember now. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was some other quest that sends you down this way towards her house. I didn't remember which quest it was, but it was just this quest that I was already doing, which is pretty convenient for me. Let's get more run because I don't like being slow. It just makes everything go slower. Let's get more of this. Oh, we have some skill credits. I think melee defense is probably most important, right? I mean, I could get creature or item, but I feel like first, priority should be melee defense. We can heal, we can kill things, and now we can defend against things. Probably what's most important here. Okay, so we'll go to her house. I don't remember what dungeon this is exactly. I know she wants you to grab something from the cathedral for her drudge. I don't remember if this is also the place where you get those stones. I don't think it is. Because the place where you get the stones is also one of those places. It's not Mossy Cave. It might be the grotto. Probably the grotto. Get you. You're just gonna tell me to go and get, yeah, Greenmeyer cider. And the cheese, right? I forgot about that. So let's go see if I can remember where those are. Probably can't. That's gonna be great. Let's see, there's mostly drudges in here, so we'll get our cold damage out. Okay, yeah, I kind of remember my way around here. Just slightly. Oh, and I don't think I ever put armor 1 on myself. Not that that's very important, but might be. Oh, and the armor probably already gives me an armor buff. Most likely. Alright. There's the cheese. Very nice. Attuned bonded cheese. I don't know if it's a good sign that the cheese has bonded to my soul, but I can't put it down now, so that's good. Some odd cheese they're growing in this dungeon here. But I don't quite remember where the cider is. Let's see. Yeah, nothing here. Let's go down that ramp and hope that that sends us somewhere good. Up this ramp. Never mind. I totally know where I'm going, guys. Don't worry. I have everything under control. I definitely didn't think that that was a down ramp. We're fine. So it's either over in one of these rooms, I think, or it's down in the tunnel system down there. Defender. Probably not too worth it yet. Let's see. There's a chest. We'll see if it's in the chest. I don't quite remember. But, it's kind of interesting that she sent me to go kill a bunch of drudges to get to all these items. But at the same time, she has a pet drudge. Like, you'd think that would be kind of a conflict of interest there. If she has a pet drudge, but I go and kill drudges. Seems a bit weird. What kind of acid am I shooting that it glows green that strongly? That is some very toxic stuff. I would have to say it might even be radioactive. Ooh, Bloodshred. I need you to die. And 9 of your friends. Specifically if their friends are, Bloodshred. Let's see. Frost. Get these guys out of here. There's a cider down here. Where are they hiding it? Another level. Good for me. You Bloodshred? No. I don't need to worry about you. Now these guys have to have the cider. I mean, it's at the very end of the dungeon. There it is. I found it. It was kind of in the obvious location, so I probably should have expected it to be in here, but I found it either way, so I'm happy. Best server? I mostly concur. I like my own server, but certainly I think this is the best public server. But as I was saying earlier in the stream, I've never really gotten characters very high level on this server yet. So why not do it on stream? It's a good opportunity to play more Asheron's Call. Okay, I'm just gonna run past the rest of these guys. We got what we wanted. We're just gonna leave. Okay, and this should drop us back next to her house. Then I think we give the stuff to her and not the drudge. That's just dead tree. We're fine. Man, that's some good XP for this level. These stones may be found in the Shreth Hive. Okay, so the Shreth Hive is where we're trying to go next. That's up here. Because that's where those stones are. I do like how they actually give you, like, directions to the next quest. Because the Braid Mansion Ruin is kind of right on the road. So you usually see it pretty quickly when you're in Shoshi. And then when you turn that quest in, they give you directions to this person's house. And then from this quest, they then give you directions to here. So that's a pretty good system they got going on. I quite like it. Because, yeah, if I had no idea where these were, which, to be fair, I kind of didn't. I mean, I knew the Braid Mansion Ruin, and then I knew that this was the person with the drudge. But I didn't remember which dungeon had the stones in it, so I'm really glad that she verified that for me. And then after this, I mean, we may just be high enough level. Actually, yeah, I think we're high enough level to do Facility Hub right now. But I think we may want to wait and do more starting areas. Just because I never get to do all the starting areas on any of my characters. And I like them all equally, so we should just give them all equal attention. Except maybe Holtberg. I mean, I like Holtberg for the Drudge hideout, but I've never done very much in the other nearby Holtberg dungeons. Like the Holtberg dungeon. Because let's see, I think the Holtberg dungeon is the one that has no quests in it, right? At least by default. Yeah, because the Holtberg dungeon's out here. I do think it has a Sword of Lost Light key in it, all the way down like at the end of it, but aside from that, it's kind of a useless dungeon, which is very sad. I wish that it had a quest in there. But yeah, it just has the readout, the hideout, and that's about it. There's the rat nest, but I don't think that's anything because I think the Shoshi rat nest is the one that has the king rat in it. Is there a quest associated with the king rat? I think there is. I usually don't do it because I'm usually not high enough level when I'm here to do such a quest, but who knows? I also do not remember where all the stones here are. Actually, I think there's one stone that's upwards, right? So how do we go up from here? That's a dead end, it looks like. This is all just one tunnel connecting over there. Let's check the dead end. Oh, this goes down as well, not up. And it is indeed just a dead end. Was I supposed to have gone up from up there? I don't think so. But I always do jump into the pit like first thing. I just kill the drudges and jump down. And that may be my folly. Yeah, because there's a door right there. Okay. We are kind of dumb. But that's fine. We just need to leave, go all the way to the bottom, get the other stones, and get out through the surface portal and go back in and go up. Because I think one of the 3 stones is it 3 stones? One of the however many stones there are is upwards. And I always forget to grab it before just jumping in with reckless abandon. And actually, her note here might say something about it. Let's see. Stones of Georgie. It doesn't say how many. That's sad. Okay. Now I think we go this way. Do we go down the middle? I think we go down the middle. Nope. That just leads to a death fall. And these also seem to lead to just death. So let's go this way. I don't quite remember the route here. But I kind of remember where the next gem thing is. Sort of. Because I remember when you're going down through... Ooh, blue Fintos wasps. We probably want to kill you before you spell us down. Because I know they can cast spells. They don't always, but they definitely can. So it's not here, but on one of these, there. There's the second one on the next floor down. So let's head that direction. Bring back Asheron Scott. I'm trying. I'm right here. I'm doing it. But definitely that was actually one of my motivations to try to get bigger in streaming was that if I occasionally stream Asheron's Call and I stream a bunch of other games, I might bring other like attention from other gaming circles back to Asheron's Call. And hopefully that works eventually. I still have a long ways to go before I'm like an actual popular streamer, but if that does ever happen and I can bring a bunch of attention to the game, then I would be very happy about that. I think one of these, does one of these have one of the stones? Yes. There we are. Okay, and then we gotta go to the surface and do the whole thing with getting the stone from the top. Because I forgot it. But it's fine. There's also not a surface portal at the top, but we could probably just Hearthstone out, or Lifestone out, after that point. Which objectively, Lifestoning is superior to Hearthstoning because it doesn't have a 1 hour cooldown. Which is very convenient. Though I think it takes half your mana. Which is, you know, kind of a downside. But that's probably fine. Let's see, where's the stone? I think it's on one of these outcroppings here, but I don't remember which one. And it doesn't show on the map, I don't think, because it's just an item on the ground, not a chest or anything. There it is. It was just all the way at the top. Now, this room specifically always, for some reason, reminds me of Dark Souls 3, when you go up to the very top of the Cathedral of the Deep, and there's the little holy upgrade stone up in the rafters. This area reminds me of that a lot. Because, you know, all the ramps all the way up at the top of the dungeon kind of seems like you're walking across the rafters with all those bridges up there. And then there's a stone you pick up that's glowy. So, you know, pretty similar. Except here there's drudges, and in there there's, you know, giant hollow knights that will kill you instantly. It's a lot more dangerous. So let's see, back to Shoshi. Now the difficult part will be to remember who I turn these into. I have like a basic inclination. I think it's someone in here. It may not be though. Is it you? Because you're the guy you turn the other stuff into. I don't think you're the one that... Yeah, you don't take those. Is it someone else somewhere in here? Maybe not. Maybe I was just thinking of the Greenmire stuff for that. Let's check the inn again. Usually that's where the quest givers are. I'm trying to... Is it you? Or is it the other green person? It is the other green person. Okay. Alright. Good XP. And we do still need blood shreths, but we'll probably do that when we're around Holtberg. I guess that's another Holtberg quest, kind of. Because, you know, you get the kill task in Shoshi, but then the only really convenient place to do it around this level is the Cave of Alabarie. Okay, so we've done Yurak and we've done Shoshi. Let's do, I guess, Sanamar next, and then... Actually, Sanamar has some really spread out quests. Let's do Holtberg first. Because, you know, I kind of want to do all the starter quests because I like them, but the Sanamar ones can take a while if you actually do a lot of the quests there. So let's see. I think first we'll just do... We're high enough level, we'll do Drudge Hideout. We have some XP to spend. Life magic, definitely more melee defense. Magic defense. War magic, for sure. And some mana conversion because I forgot to put any points into that. Okay, good enough for now. Alright, we need cold, because we got more drudges to kill. The early game really hates drudges, or really likes drudges, but it always sends you to kill drudges, so I feel like it just hates them, and wants them all dead. Which is kind of interesting, because drudges are like a consistent enemy all throughout the game, even up until like end game threats, because there's the Airbax's prodigal drudge. And that, I mean, it's not really an end game threat. I think it's like a level 135 quest or something. But still, the bosses in there can be kind of a threat even through the end game. So it's kind of interesting that the drudges kind of still stay dangerous through the entire game, even though they're the first enemies you fight most of the time. Alright, mow these guys down. I need better spells for sure. But we'll get better spells later. We don't have any other characters with money on this server, so we can't just go through the... what is it? Not Scriveners, because that's the regular guys. Why is the word not coming to my brain? The guys in Arwick, the ones that just teach you the entire like book of spells in any school if you just pay them enough. Professors. That was it. The professors of magic. So we can't really use those because we're poor, but we'll get there eventually. We'll probably just get level 2 spells manually, and then hopefully we'll be able to hold on to those long enough to get maybe level 4 spells from the professors if we can get enough money for them. Although I feel like some of the lower level spell groups are a bit overpriced at the professors. But if we can do Ulthoi pincers anytime soon, we should be able to start affording those. Because the Ulthoi pincers, if you just do them every day, get you quite a bit of spare change. Did I get the other bag? I don't think I did. No, I already did. Okay. Is that all 3? It is. Let's just... no, that's the locked one. Other one. Let's just check. Nothing important, probably. Maybe. Who knows? I don't check the early game loot all that closely usually. Because normally most things at this level aren't going to be surpassing the Path Warden gear. And they're generally not worth very much money even. Especially on a character that doesn't have high strength, so... I can't even pick up the high weight, high value items. Alright, so let's, on our way into town, give the town crier some of these, and then give the collector this, sell all the rest, and turn these in. Not exactly in that, even though I said then, it's not in that particular order. No, don't. I don't want to be a litter bug. Come on. I know that they just, disappear if you leave them on the ground long enough, but, it takes up server stuff, I guess. Server resources if you just drop everything on the ground. So let's sell all these for some spell money. And then go turn this in, and then turn these in. Which I guess was actually, I think, the exact order that I mentioned all the stuff in. So never mind. Yeah, exact order. Oh, the cow tipping quest. A classic. I still remember. I have like a vivid memory of let's see, which one of these are full? You're full, you're full, you, you, you. Okay. But yeah, I have a vivid memory of in my childhood, my dad set me up downstairs on a laptop, and I sat there for a good long time just tipping a cow over and over. It was kind of chilly downstairs. I was at the dinner table. There was the sliding glass door in front of me, kitchen to my left, living room to my right. And I just sat there and kept pressing the R button because, that's the use button. It was a great time. What a time to be alive, you know? Just tipping a cow so you can get instantly to like level 25 from level 7 because the cow tipping quest gives an insane amount of XP for that level. It's a fun experience. But it's weird that that's one of my like baseline memories of my childhood because it's honestly kind of it's probably the least exciting quest in Asheron's Call just because you it takes a long time to do it. Uh but for some reason that's one of the ones that sticks out the most. I also remember doing Bellis, which is funny that one memory is the cow tipping quest at freaking level 5 and the other one is the Bellis quest which you can't even possibly do until I think 130 plus. But I remember being in Bellis and I remember we were very scared of him. And our dad had us station ourselves up at the top of the like height, the raised area right next to where Bellis spawns. And then our dad like kited him out of the room that he spawns in out into the main area and we all got on top of that raised area and just shot spells down at him so that we could survive. uh which is such a funny memory now because looking back on it, I've soloed uh Bellis so many times in my life now on my own server and even soloed him on like 4 different characters per week, where you have all your characters set up to go in there and then you kill Bellis and then you have everyone grab one of the things. And it's like there's literally nothing to be scared of with that guy. He's not that strong comparatively. Like you could probably kill him with a character that's just in, high enough level and in ancient armor. So I don't know why we were so scared of him back then, but it was a memory, you know? Good times back when the game was live. Let's see. Where are all the items in this one? This is the one that I'm it's kind of notorious in my brain because this one I can never remember where all the stuff is. Although, isn't there supposed to be a chalice in this room? Or was the chalice later? Bronze candlestick, that was it. And it was over in the starting room. Okay. I just missed it entirely. I was pretty sure there was something up here. But once again, there's 8 items to find. I need to try to remember where they all are. Because this is another one of the ones that I don't do all that often. I usually just do the find 8 items one in your rack, and then ignore the rest. Okay, and I don't think there's any down here. No, there's the same candlestick, but nothing else. We move on. I think there's one in the room over here. Or no, this one might... Yeah, no, this one leads through the bedrooms, which is ones in the bedrooms. Then it leads out to the main room with the bridge. But I think there might be... Let's remember where we were. And head back this way. Because I think there's one in here somewhere. Maybe. I don't see one. Let's see. There's a big bowl. Is that it? It is it. Man, this... What are you cooking and or storing in a bowl that big? Like you could literally chop up an entire human and store them inside that bowl. That is just that is too big. Why that's the example I gave, I am not sure. But it's true. Let's see, there's one in this chest. Okay. Let's kill these guys while I take count of everything we have here. Move all this down to the bottom. So we have 6 items so far out of 8. So we're missing 2. Quick maths. And hopefully they're both just down here. I think there's one in here. Yeah, there's the mug. And the weird Tumorok head, which I'm still not sure why that's here. Suppose because it's like a fresh Tumorok head. Like, all the rest are skeletons. And then there's just that guy. Just sitting there dying in the corner. I'm not sure. I've never understood why that's there, but... You know, I guess Tumoroks were here. At some point. And we should go get the guy's axe. I think. That's in the Cave of Alabari, isn't it? So I need to be going there anyways. Okay, final thing should be in, yeah, that corner there. Okay. More charms. Have we used any spell components? Nope. Level 1 spells are overpowered. Which makes sense, actually. Because, yeah, if somebody had just picked up the game, you wouldn't want to, like, throw them straight into it with using a bunch of spell components. Because then they probably wouldn't know how to handle that. Oh, let's just Lifestone out of here. I wonder how long the Lifestone animation is. Because I was saying that that Lifestone is superior to Hearthstoning because it only takes your mana and doesn't have a cooldown. But I wonder if the Lifestone animation is faster, and additionally, the Lifestone animation can't be interrupted. Whereas if you get hit by anything, you get in, you know, the Hearthstone gets interrupted. So, still, Lifestone stays winning. Still very superior. I've also noticed on this server, uh, all the town network portals put you in front of Annex, which kind of throws me off. Because on my server, it's always, it always puts you in front of the direction that you came from. Like, if you came out of a Gurundam town, you'd be in front of the Gurundam area. So it kind of throws me off, but once I get used to it, it's probably going to be more efficient that way. Because then you always know which direction you have to be heading, instead of knowing what direction you should head in, you know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Because if you're coming out of Gurundam, you need to know which direction you're going from there. So let's see. Let's actually take these coordinates, which is so nice that I can just copy these, and then put them into my go arrow, I guess. Because I'm fairly certain, yeah, that they moved the Cave of Alabari at some point, and I always forget that. Because the map hasn't been updated for it, so those directions are actually super useful for us. So let's head that way, kill some blood shreths. Let me actually look up real quick because I'm still curious. Is it actually acid that's good against shreths? It's been working well, but at these levels, pretty much any element destroys any enemy. Let's see. Blood shreth. It's like Google coordinates. It's like any coordinates, you know? You got the coordinates here. The go arrow makes life a lot easier, but how we used to do it is just there's the coordinates that you're at under the map, and then you would, well, I got rid of the note. But yeah, the note has the coordinates, and you just kind of go towards them. If you're kind of a noob at coordinates, like I usually was, you would just end up going, okay, we need more north, and you'd go north until you hit the north coordinate, and then you'd go like east until you hit the east coordinate. Let's see, blood shreths. Weakness cold, huh? Is that all shreths? It's a carrion Shreth. Cold. Really? I always thought it was something like acid or lightning. No, frost seems pretty consistently the Shreth's weakness. Interesting. I guess you don't see many Shreths in cold climates, do you? Oh, of course. The fire Shreth. I was looking through all the Shreths on the wiki, and the one Shreth that doesn't have cold listed as its weakness is the fire Shreth. How does that make sense? You'd think the fire Shreth would be the one that would be weak to cold. All right, but let's see here. I'm gonna try acid. Does 21 damage, and then cold. Well, it's dead. But keep in mind, 21 damage from acid damage. Let's do cold on the next one. How much damage does this do? It resisted. It misfired. 24. Seems to be about the same. 32. Okay, maybe cold's a bit higher. It is a bit sucky, though. Just because I feel like now a lot of early game enemies are weak to cold. Which I guess isn't necessarily true. Because drudges, I've always kind of considered to be weak to cold, and they kind of are. But I think some of them are actually weaker to lightning than they are to cold. It's just something I noticed as I was messing around with numbers on my own server, is that lightning resistance actually seemed to be lower on some of them, which is a bit bizarre. Because by and large, we've always used cold or fire against drudges. Never really lightning. So let's see. Think we go this way? No. No, this way. Maybe. Who cares? We get to kill blood Shreths either way. But we gotta find some dude at some dude's axe somewhere down here. No, because this is just a dead end, and there's a note. Do we need this? Do you turn this into someone? Or is this just something to read? My beloved Rindia? Rindia? Grindia. Rindia. I don't know. I will write quickly, for I can hear the door above resounding with the efforts of the tomb rocks to find entrance. My time is short. I hope you've heeded my command and followed little Flinrala through the mage's portal. Our daughter will need you in the coming years. Remember, both of you, that I will always love you. Bleh. Oh, Brogord. Nice. I don't know if I give that note to anybody, but hopefully they're fine. I was gonna say, I do remember there's something around Holtberg that has lore about the tomb rocks invading, which I guess was this cave, but I didn't quite remember when that happened. I mean, it doesn't really give you any date or time. All right, let's check up here. It might be further in, but it might just be in this room. Armory door. Sounds, good. Easy enemies down here. I mean, yeah, they're fairly easy. Actually, blood Shreths, you can't see the level because it's dead, but I think they're level 15. And so they are a little bit higher level than most enemies that you fight in the early game. But yeah, they're not extremely tough at this point because I'm a little over leveled. But we'll be getting to the tougher enemies very soon. I finished the Blood Shreth task, so we'll just run back. But yeah, once we get to the Dagger of Tukola, which we should be doing soon, I kind of want to do the Sanamar quests, because I don't do those very often. But once we've done those, we'll probably do up through the Dagger of Tukola today. Because that quest is usually the quest that gets me killed first in this game. And that's no fun. It's not good to die. Why am I so slow? Is it server issues? It's probably server issues. That's usually what makes you go real slow. Let me look up this letter to Rindia. Rindia. Does this do anything? Related quests. Oh, yeah, the letter does give XP rewards. Also, we are like completely stuck. We have slowed to a crawl. By a crawl, I mean we literally can't move. Let's try just logging out and logging back in. It does this sometimes. Sometimes you get like completely disconnected from the server, and you need to kind of reset your connection to, you know, get back in line with it. And we're back here. Okay, that's fine. No, I'm not on my own server. I'm on a server called Levistras. That's why I'm playing a new character today instead of one of my higher level characters on my server. So definitely connection issues can end up being a bit of a problem, but you know, it's fine. That's just how being on someone else's server goes. Although the connection is usually not bad once this goes through eventually. See any people around? I have. I've seen a few people. I haven't interacted with them because social anxiety, but you know. Plus, you know, they're doing their own thing. They don't want to be bothered by me. But yeah, 70 to 81 milliseconds, pretty dang fast server latency. That's good stuff. On my server, I think we have like what 20 milliseconds because I'm literally connecting to myself. Okay, that's just clothing on the ground. I thought somebody like was dead there. I was like, how did you die in the middle of Holtberg? That would just be sad. Let's see. Who do I give this stuff to again? Wiki, help me. I give it to... Right, it's the guy behind... The guy behind the shop, right? No, it's to the green person. What does the guy behind the shop want then? Green person, take these. Okay. What's with the pink guy? I... He's not supposed to be. That's new. That's a Levistras thing. I I don't know. I'm so used to these buildings being like the exact way they are in vanilla, but then I don't know, just something about turning and seeing hot pink somewhere on the screen just broke my brain for a second. I was like, something's not where it's supposed to be right now. What is out of place here? So what quests do you send us to do? Nothing. I remember there's something that guy has us do at some point, I think, but I don't quite remember. Okay, but I think we did everything. We did Drudge Hideout. We didn't do the... No, it would be Shoshi that has the Rat Nest quest. So that's fine. Let's go to Sanamar and finish up all four of the starter zones. Even though we're already level 16, which is significantly higher than you have to be to start the facility hub. Because you can start it at level 10. But extra levels are always good. Increase you, increase you, increase you. All of them. No strength. That's fine. Okay, we are going behind us to Sanamar. Fun place. You get to torture someone by, you know, showing them a piece of an animal that completely traumatized them. It's fun. Traumatizing people with penguin PTSD is always my favorite pastime. So let's do that first. Even though I think this is... No, this is the easier of the two dungeons. The beacon is slightly higher level, I think. Can't help but look at it. Yeah, it was a very distracting color of pink. I didn't even know clothing in this game existed with that color. Can we just ignore these guys? Probably. Takes a long time to kill all these penguins. And I think it's a little frowned upon to kill penguins. Oh, but we gotta kill penguins in order to get one of the penguin beaks. I don't care if it's frowned upon. We gotta go traumatize a guy. There's a lot of penguins in here. If I did not have melee defense, we would be kind of screwed here. Even if they were just doing 1 damage a hit. Man, my stamina's gonna run out. And then I am not gonna have any melee defense anyway. Alright, give me your beaks. Let's see. What was next unopened corpse? I think it's this one. Ooh, there's the beak. Let's search all these guys real quick. I don't think the beaks give very much, but, you know, might as well grab them all. Get all the essences for selling. Okay, that's all of them. And we continue on our way. But now we don't have to fight any more penguins because we have more than enough of what we need. And these guys, they're a little obnoxious with how much stamina they take. Especially because I still don't have restore stamina. Because I haven't gotten any level 2 spells yet. So, that's unfortunate. Let's see, it's the one on the left, right? Yes. Alright, easy enough. You know what I like about Asheron's Call is that it didn't even have a single kill task, as far as I remember, until like one of the middle updates. It wasn't like a late update. It wasn't an early update. It was one of the middle updates in Asheron's Call's development. But you're new. You're not new. You're just dressed differently. Anyways, but throughout its development, eventually they added kill tasks, and they added a lot of them. But early on, there weren't any kill tasks. And I like that because in WoW, pretty much everything's a kill task. They're just like, oh yes, you came to a new zone to find new fancy quests and fun things to do and new challenges. No, go kill every animal you see in the forest. You know, like it's pretty much how it goes. But in Asheron's Call, they actually had to get creative with like, what items are you getting? Where are you going? What's the lore to these items? Who wants these items? You know, like I mean, it is a lot of picking up items and giving them to people, but first of all, they actually give you the inventory space required to do that. And additionally, it's very much a lot more varied, you know, there's more flavor to it. So we're going to give 3 to this guy. And the reason we're giving those first is that he says, ah, beak from the most feared and troublesome penguin. Wave one of these at Lorca Samel. Samel? Samel, probably. I promise you it's a good time. So we take our remaining one and give it to him. It's like, get that thing away from me. Get it away. Yeah, he's kind of, he got traumatized. Because apparently he lost that necklace we gave him in that dungeon. And I guess the penguins did horrific things to him before he got out. So that's fun. And we get to torture him, which is even more fun. So then we do the beacon, and then the one quest I usually never do is that there are hovels. Why is it sultry? I don't know. I was gonna say these all seem very innuendo-esque, but sultry just seems a little on the nose. Anyways, you go to the 4 hovels and kill a bunch of mushrooms, which also seems kind of hmm. Anyways, and in each one of those, I think you get something, and it's a fun time. I think I've only ever done these quests like once with all the mushrooms. Usually, I just do the beacon and the penguin quest and then call it a day. Because all the hovels are kind of way out of the way. You know, it's a bit of a detour to just get over to them. I don't even remember what you get out of them, but you know. Reading a bit about this Asheron's Call, really? Where might you be reading about it? Oh, you resisted. But yeah, actually, there's some super cool stuff to read about it, like lore stuff and even live event stuff. Like I think one of my favorite reads, community kept it alive with a emulation server. Yes, actually, the game itself shut down in 2017. I kind of blame a specific company that I'm not gonna name because they bought the game like a few years prior and then they shut it down, and I was very sad. But anyways, um, yeah, so company shuts down the game, and then the community. There were kind of two halves of the community, I believe. One half of the community, I think, decided to take whatever files they could from the remaining game and recreate the game using a lot of the original files. And I think the other one was trying to recreate it pretty much from scratch. I think just taking like the graphics from the game and then rebuilding the rest of the game around it from the ground up. But I don't quite know much about the development process. All I know is that there's GDLE and ACE, and those are like two different. Is it fire or water or frost against these? I can never remember. Anyways, so yeah, there's quite a lot behind the emulators. A lot of history there already. But yeah, it was quite early in the MMORPG genre. First of all, I'm very proud of it. It was one of the first games, open world games, to have like an actual moving skybox. As you can see, the clouds actually move above you. Very fancy, very nice. Um, it was also actually competition to EverQuest, the first EverQuest, and I believe that Asheron's Call was actually in development before EverQuest, but EverQuest came out first. So Asheron's Call was almost the first major MMO, but EverQuest ended up kind of squeaking by a little bit, which I'm a bit upset about. That could have been bad. Dang acid bolts. Um, but yeah, very early game, 1999 launch, indeed. So it's how old would it be now? It's 2025. I think it launched what, November? Who knows? So yeah, it's about 25 years old, 26 approximately, depending on the release date. Could be more or less around that time. But back in the day, there was this one event where the devs actually were. You might need to know some of the lore of the game to get this, but there was an event where a bunch of shadow spires appeared all over the planet. And let me look on the map really quick. I know there was one near Arwick. I think it has like a crater here? Here? I don't know. Somewhere around this region. It has a big crater, and that's where a big shadow spire was, which actually, fun fact, the shadow spires are made out of the corpse of one of my favorite creatures in this game, which was a Gromnatros. So in the game, you see Gromnies quite a lot, and those are actually like baby Gromnatroses. And a Gromnatros is basically a dragon, just the Asheron's Call variant of a dragon, and I'm a big fan of those things. You never see one in the game because they're like legendary, but you see a lot of the children of those, and so that's very nice. And did WoW exist in the same period? World of Warcraft existed. I think it started in 2006, right? I think that's when it officially launched, somewhere around there, 2004, 2006. So it was a few years after Asheron's Call, and then WoW has now existed all the way up until now, and Asheron's Call existed until 2017. It did overlap, yeah, it overlapped quite a lot. Actually, throughout my entire childhood, we would jump back and forth between playing WoW and playing Asheron's Call, because our dad would basically come to us and be like, "Hey, what do you want to play like this month?" Because he didn't want to pay for both uh, subscriptions simultaneously, so he was like, "Okay, you need to like tell me which one of these you want me to pay a sub for," and so we'd cancel one, get the other, and we would choose whether we wanted to play Asheron's Call that month or World of Warcraft that month. It was a fun time, and there were actually times it's funny because there were times that I would be the only one in our family that chose to stick with playing Asheron's Call for a month, whereas everyone else jumps back over to uh, World of Warcraft. And so I would just be sitting there playing alone for a whole month. It was kind of sad, but fun times. And there are no longer any payments. All private servers are free, uh, which is good. Even setting up your own private server was completely free, luckily, because I was able to do it then. Uh, and yeah, so, and WoW still takes a sub, of course, because it's still live. But I believe Asheron's Call stopped getting subs in what, 2016? It was somewhere near the end, like the last year or two of the game was free to play. So that was interesting. But that meant that from that point on, we were able to play both Asheron's Call and WoW simultaneously because Asheron's Call no longer required a sub. So that was nice. Um, but yeah, it was kind of sad though because when it went free to play, you kind of knew that it was on its last legs, and it's like, well, it's kind of like it's in hospice. You know, it's just gonna die off soon, but you're just kind of trying to enjoy it until it does. But still a good time. And then of course the emulators came on, and I was the only one that ever really got into the emulators. My brother kind of got into them, but never to the same degree. And my dad still hasn't been back to Asheron's Call really at all. He did play on my server for like a few minutes to test that the server worked and that people could connect to it, but other than that, he's never really been back to it. That is true. Star Trek Online has been free to play, but Star Trek Online does have microtransactions and other such things like new skins, new ships, new weapons, all that kind of stuff. So, do I want this one? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, whichever one I get, I think. Let me actually also get the Ice Tachi. We're fine. Okay. So yeah, Star Trek Online can still make money, whereas Asheron's Call, after a certain point, couldn't. Because if it doesn't have subs, it had zero income whatsoever, I think. Alright, now let's go back to here and turn in. Usually pay with your data. That's true. And that's no good. Oh yeah, but anyway. So yeah, there were all these shadow spires, which were the twisted corpses of Gromnatroses, which are the dragons, and they were kind of twisted by the shadows, who are servants of Baal Zaron, who's like the main bad guy of the game. But the devs would actually like take somebody who was playing the game at the time and just teleport them into a dark room and interview them in character as like one of the servants of Baal Zaron. and they'll just be like, "You've seen our spires destroying your towns." They literally like destroyed towns. There is, let's see, what town is it? Where is it? I think it's Yanshi. Yeah, you see how it says Yanshi old and Yanshi rebuilt? They literally destroyed Yanshi in one of the events. It's just a regular town that was all in the landscape wiped off the face of the map. And then in a later update, they had a rebuilt version. Very cool. Love that. But the devs would literally just kidnap these people and ask them about things. And they even asked things like, what town should we attack next? Or like, where should the next Shadow Spire appear? And so people would actually give their input as to like what town they should destroy as the devs. And it was really cool. And there were similar things like at one point, quote unquote, Baal Zaron kidnapped a bunch of the monarchs, like the guild leaders essentially of the game, and they would kidnap all of them and then send them to this island that wasn't available at that point. I think it was Airlinth Isle, if I remember correctly, because it was in earlier development, and so Airlinth wasn't implemented yet, and I think they had people like race around the island or something. Or maybe it was an island that still isn't available. I don't quite remember the story fully, but they took all the monarchs there and had them do a race, and I think they might have just been running, might have also been like jumping puzzles, killing things. I don't remember, but they did all these trials, and at the end of it, the the monarchs would actually get unique gifts like shadow stones and stuff. They put a ton into it. Yeah, not only did the game have Gromnies, I do not like them. I like Gromnies lore wise, but they hurt. But yeah, they put a ton of effort into the game. It not only the game for however many years it was up, even up until like 2016. I think early 2016 was the 2014. Early 2014 was, I think, when they put in the last updates. But that means for almost 15 years, the game got consistent monthly updates where they put in like at least 5 or 6 new quests, new areas, new enemies, everything, every single month. And moat. That's actually really lucky. Um, even like doing live events, and there were a ton of different servers, and each server would have its live events. Like they had live events that were shared between all the servers, but then some live events that were server specific, and it was really cool. And actually, probably my number one favorite story, the other one with the people with the shadow spires, is one of my favorite lore things to read into. But the favorite story is about these people. I think it was Frostfell? Is that it? I never played on the server very much. Frost Coal? Frost. Is Frost something? One of the servers. There was this event that was happening on all the servers where it still hit me. Anyway, where there were basically these crystals. Special PvP only race. Yeah, yeah. There was the Ulthoi. There was the melee Ulthoi and the ranged Ulthoi, and they were PvP only. And it was pretty interesting. Sadly, by that point, other than I guess on like Darktide, the PvP sentiment in the game was not super not great. But so I never really got into the Ulthoi stuff. I did definitely jump into it just to run around and have fun, but it was an interesting idea. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so there were these crystals. And lore-wise, these crystals were they were there to basically hold Baal Zaron down. They were entrapping him. And we didn't know that as players at first. And so when the first servers started destroying these crystals and it let out Baal Zaron to go on a rampage, eventually the people on the Frost server, that I forget the name of exactly, I think it's Frostfall or something, they decided, no, we're not going to destroy these crystals. People tried because there was a lot of good rewards if you were the first allegiance to destroy the crystal, but a lot of people, I think it was like entire allegiances, that banded together and were just like, no, we're not destroying this crystal. We are actually going to defend the crystal. Because apparently the room that you fight the crystal in is actually a PvP enabled zone for everyone or something. So anybody that went in there was subject to being attacked by anybody else in there unless they're in your own group. So there was actually this group of people, this entire allegiance that around the clock, I think for, what was it, like a couple weeks or something, actually defended the crystal and made it so no other allegiance could break in there and kill it. And that was really cool, but I think eventually the devs had to step in because it was like a major plot point for that to happen. And it's like, they were just like, you know what, we need this to actually occur. But it was really cool that the people of that server were like, no, we're not doing the event because of lore reasons. We're going to defend this crystal, and this server is going to deviate from its path. Oh yeah, I'm sure they were pleasantly surprised. They're like, they probably at first were like, man, I didn't think anyone would do something like this. And then later on, they're like, oh shoot, we have to do something about this. These people, they're kind of stopping the entire server's progression in its tracks. So the devs did have to step in eventually, but it's just so cool that the players could alter the entire course of the lore on that server all on their own. So it's crazy. There are so many good things, and a lot of it is documented on the wiki. There's a lot of different things like, you know, chat transcripts and all these different like firsthand stories of stuff. It's insane just how much is documented of all these different live events. So I really love that about the game, and that is another reason why one might want to play on Levistras instead of their own server, is that Levistras actually does their own private, well not private, but their own like dev events on this server, as far as I can tell. I remember a few months back around Halloween, they had something going on in like, I think it was some field next to Arwick or something. I didn't have any characters high enough level to participate at the time, but I thought it was really cool that they were doing events in the first place, so I was like, I need to play on that server at some point. But it was a lot. It's a lot of fun, especially because those events usually have like unique rewards and stuff. At least in the base game, they did. As to like anyone who participated would get something cool, something commemorative, and something that nobody else would have. Why or how did the game end? Well, the game itself just ended up being not really popular enough to keep up with, I guess, the cost of it, which is very sad because there were a lot of competitors. It was one of the first MMOs to ever hit the market and one of the first ones to be very widely popular, but it came out right after EverQuest, so probably lost a good number of customers over to EverQuest. And then of course there was the sequels to EverQuest, and then WoW came out, and that completely rocked the MMO market at the time. So yeah, it was a lot of different factors that just made it so the population on Asheron's Call wasn't enough. Although I would say that Asheron's Call has the most dedicated fan base out of any that I've seen. I mean, there are like World of Warcraft private servers, but it's just you don't see the same kind of like love and dedication to a game as you do on the in the Asheron's Call private servers. So yeah. Ow. Don't do that to me. No spells, Shaman Man. Your friends played WoW. Never something you would play. Yeah, I get it. It definitely isn't everyone's cup of tea. I was definitely a big MMO fan for most of my life, but it is still, even now, kind of a niche that not everyone gets into. But yeah, Asheron's Call is definitely probably my favorite MMO. Actually, it's my favorite game out of like anything, even above like Skyrim. Ooh, a zombie head. I don't need that, but that's cool. But like even above Skyrim and RimWorld, the ones that I have thousands of hours in by now, this still ranks above it. And I mean, it might be my own biases and my own like, you know how everyone kind of has those things that they feel like it makes them kind of an old man shaking their fist at the kids on their lawn. But my like one main old man thing about Asheron's Call is I kind of feel like a lot of people are turned off from the game because of the graphics. And it always makes me so upset at just society in general that we get so hyped up about how things look and we don't care about the intricate systems underneath, you know? We kind of let all that go to the wayside as we're just like, oh yes, this looks somewhat like the world that I already live in. Thus, it makes it objectively better than everything else. So that's like my old man shaking fist moment there is just I hate it when people put graphics first and foremost because it's just to me it's just not important. Graphics do not matter and I just love the game. The Michael Baying up everything. I know. Honestly, I mean, even especially the new Transformers movie, which I am not a fan of, because I love the original Transformers show, and the original Transformers movie is my favorite movie. So literally, the Michael Baying of that franchise completely ruined it for me. But anyways, what makes it so that this game stays good for me is I think it's the way you approach the game. Because, like, in WoW, it's a lot about, like, oh, you want to see new places, do new quests, you know, but for Asheron's Call, there's a lot of doing the same stuff over and over, you know? Like, in WoW, I probably could never do the same daily over and over for more than a week. But in Asheron's Call, I've been able to do the same daily over and over for, like, probably a month straight sometimes. And the reason for that is because my outlook on the game is kind of unique compared to other games I've played. Because in this game, I always try to, like, optimize. You know? You try to make it so that you get through dungeons faster than you ever have before. You get through. I think I want all of these. Maybe this. Can I sell this? Attune bonded. No. Uh, Yeah, kind of like a speed run, but every dungeon is a speed run. Like this dungeon, as you may have seen, I was talking through the whole thing, so it wasn't as efficient. But as you may have seen, I do have like a mini map here, but I didn't need to like look at the wiki. I didn't need to, you know, sit there and contemplate the puzzles or figure anything out. It's like I remembered every turn, every lever, every sequence of events that had to be done in order to get to the end of that dungeon. And that is what I love about it, is that I can memorize these dungeons and can play them over and over and over and do them faster each time. And it's like it's just fun, especially if you see me when I get to the like the Tusker tusks and the Ulthoi pincers. I could do those in my sleep, you know? Like those things I know every turn so much better than anywhere that I've been in real life. Like yeah, it definitely is a bit like home. It's just so familiar, you know? So that's what gets me coming back to the game mostly is just the familiarity and the efficiency and just everything that I can do in the game, everything I know about it. Like you know, when I walk over here and look at this wasp, it's not just oh, there's an enemy there. Like in WoW, if I were to run up to an enemy, it's like I click on an enemy, it's like okay, I can see their health. I kind of know what spells they cast because I fought this enemy before. No, it's like I look at this enemy, and what immediately comes to mind is not only a bunch of memories of fighting it when I was younger, but also I know exactly what spells this thing can cast and what it can't. I know how dangerous it is. I know what level it is. It's level 8, which you can see here. I know exactly what elements are good against it, and this, that, and the other, what it can drop, all that stuff. There's just so much nuance in my head of every enemy, every dungeon, every facet of this game that is just swarming through my noggin constantly. and it's so nice to just be able to go in and just live all of that information in like a physical way of just being there and using all that info that's in my head. It's so nice, which I guess isn't a great pitch to get people to come and play the game for the first time, but it's certainly just once you get used to it, this game is so good, especially because the controls are actually incredibly precise. Like in WoW, you can sometimes, it's sometimes a little floaty. It's a bit difficult to control, especially something like EverQuest is. Last I played it, which was years ago, it was really floaty and really like I don't know. I felt like it was a bit too difficult to control. But in this game, the A and D turn you, W and S move you forward and backwards, and then by default Z and C are strafe. So what you can do is you can like strafe around corners and really optimize your movement to get around places as quickly and efficiently as possible. And it's so nice to be able to do that. Uh, just because it's efficient, you feel like you're good at the game when you get the movement down to a science. Oh boy, this quest. But yeah, GTA 5 were a lot of bumps in the road. Yeah, definitely. If you get used enough to a game, it just kind of feels like home. Always like where everything is and how everything works. And it's pretty great. That's also why it was so upsetting when the game ended up shutting down, is it's like it almost feels like all that space in your brain that you were saving and using on remembering all the details about this game, all of a sudden all that's useless. It's like, what will I do now with all this stuff? Like, I know what element I need to kill this banderling. It's lightning. What am I going to do with that in the real world if I can never play Asheron's Call again? So I was very happy when the emulators were up and running, and I immediately pretty much got onto those. Ow. So where am I going here? This dungeon's difficult. Let me kill some guys here. Because in this dungeon, normally I have lockpicking. Because lockpicking makes this dungeon 200 times easier. But since we don't have that, I'll have to make do. I remember where one or two of the keys are. I don't remember the sequence that they're used in, nor where the rest are. So we'll be kind of running off of vague memory and making stuff up along the way. So let's see. Not in there, I don't think. There's one this way. If we turn into this room, one of the undead has a key. That's not the right one. This one. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the game. That's probably an understatement, though. I kind of have stronger feelings about this game than about pretty much any other game that I've ever played. It's just so integral to my own existence. That's kind of why I play the game so much. I mean, on my own server, I got multiple characters between level 180 and 200. Well, not 180 and 200, but like between 180 and max level, which takes sometimes months of dedication to get that high level. And I did on multiple characters. Oh, this is locked. Neither of these guys had a key on them. Oh, and someone died here. That's a bad sign. Oh yeah, Ebos, when you die, your corpse actually stays on the ground, which is pretty funny. Because like in other games, it doesn't do that. But when you die, you like drop items from your inventory on your corpse. I didn't want to pick that up. That was the wrong thing. It does not even have a buff. Wow. I want to pick this up. But anyways, did you guys have a key or anything of that sort? You do not. So this guy is one of the guys I know has a key. You can loot other people's drops. Well, not really. So you see, if I go here, it says you do not yet have the right to loot the corpse of that guy. So if they were killed in PvE and they dropped items on their corpse, then the corpse will sit there until they themselves come and retrieve it. Or I think the recipe is like 1 hour. Like the corpse will stick around for 1 hour plus 15 minutes per level or something like that. So as long as this dungeon is loaded in, if that much time passes with the dungeon being loaded, then the corpse will disappear and all the loot that was on it will drop on the ground and then anyone can pick it up. But until that point, the corpse stays there and the person can come back and grab their stuff at any time. So that is very nice. Okay, where else is the keys here? I think there was one somewhere down here. Is it off of one of you guys? I think they might have a special name. Probably not, though. You're alone in there, but I don't think that's it. Yeah, this dungeon, as I said, I don't normally do it without lockpicking. So, trying to just go off of memory as to where... I know here is where we need to go, but requires lockpicking. Or a key. But yeah, this game had a lot of nice workarounds to it as to how a lot of things worked. Such as all the housing in the game is actually real estate in the game that, you know, anyone can just kind of stumble across and walk into. And so to make it more balanced, to make it so that someone couldn't just buy a house and then leave and never come back to the game, they actually made it so you have to pay in-game rent for the house every real life month. So anybody that isn't playing the game currently will end up not keeping up on the rent, and they'll lose the house, and then it'll be available for someone else to buy. So, very, you know, nice workaround for that. But where's the keys? Might be one in here. Yeah, there's a key, man. He might give me the key for the undead guy. I mean, I don't know, the vibe of the game did stay pretty much the same, but it did have kind of, I don't know, kind of a transformation. Not really when the company that owned it changed, but just over time. Because in the very beginning... Oh no, and I think the team changed quite a lot, actually. But over time, they did make the game a lot easier. Like, at first, it was very much, you know, all the portals to get around the map were scattered all over the place, and you kind of needed to find them and memorize them, and there was a lot of knowledge required to play the game back when it first came out. And so I guess they didn't really like that, or at least a lot of people that played the game didn't like that. So what they did is they implemented things like the town network and the facility hub that make the game a lot easier by pretty much coalescing all of those different spread out elements of the game and putting them all in the same spot. You know, like the town network was just a singular instance that has a portal to every town in the game. So you don't have to worry about figuring out the archaic portal system. So yeah, they definitely changed things here and there. And some was for the better, some was for the worse. Like in the early parts of the game, they focused a lot on early game stuff. Like low-level dungeons, they put in a ton of those dungeons and fleshed them out, made them really good. But then at the same time, they kind of, like, once things started to pick up and once they got to the next level of development, they kind of stopped using... That is the right one. Nice. Let's hope these rats don't kill me. They might. They kind of gave up on early game development. They were like, oh, we already got all the quests for the early game. Let's just leave it as is. And then they started working on the end game because they realized that people liked the game a lot, and people got to the end game a lot. And at the beginning, there was pretty much nothing to do after like level 100. So the first thing they did was they raised the level cap from 126 to 275, and that's where the level cap stayed pretty much forever. Um, and then they went about just filling out the end game levels with more quests and activities and factions and stuff to do. But the issue with that is that then the early game is kind of early development quests, and the late game had all the fancy new stuff. And that kind of became an issue. And the biggest issue, probably the most glaring issue that I have with the entire game, is that the mid game was kind of left to languish. You know, there's a good number of quests in the mid game, but really just the density of quests is way off. You know, in the early game, there's dozens of quests that you can do. As you could see, like, I even over leveled myself for going to the facility hub because the early game quests, the starter town quests, I wanted to do a lot of them. Not even all of them, just a good amount. But usually you do half of those quests and you're, you know, ready for the facility hub that then takes you up to like level 60 by the end of it. So it's like the early game has so many quests that it throws at you, just too many even for the number of levels that you're getting at that stage. And that's partially because they upped the XP rewards of all those quests later in a later update, but that's another thing. um but yeah, the mid game, just the density of quests compared to the number of levels and the amount of XP you need to go through those levels is just way off. So it's usually a big grind from the time you hit about level 100 to until you get to level 180, when you can start on uh the society quests in the late game, because 180 is like when the late game starts. So yeah, that's like the biggest, most glaring issue in the game, is that there's that big gap in the middle. And I feel like that's just because they focused on the early game too much at the start, and then the late game too much later, and the middle just kind of never got fully fleshed out. Same with things like void magic and two-handed combat, which both were added a relatively later in the game's progress, and they never fully fleshed out those weapon skills. Because like void magic just doesn't have the sheer number of wands that it needs to have, really, to be, I mean, it's viable, especially with loot generated items. It's definitely viable, but it's also very luck based sometimes. You need to find good weapons, and then you need to be able to rend them, or I guess imbue them, because you want to put the crit chance imbue on them if they're void magic. But yeah, so it's like there's a lot of luck for void magic. There's not a lot of like guaranteed. Was this not the right room? Might not been, because that was kind of a dead end. Uh, bring out a new campaign. What would amaze you? What would amaze me if there was a new like campaign? I mean, first of all, it would be hard to do. Honestly, if they added like a new island or a new landmass that had a bunch of quests between level 80 and level 180, I would be really happy. If it was just they added a bunch more content for that kind of niche level range, I would be just ecstatic, you know? But I don't know if they will do that, because I mean they do have private servers, so people could do that. I just don't know if they will, because that's a huge upgrade to it. Yeah, the middle game, just to fill in that big gap in content, you know? Just get you more things to do instead of spamming Tusker Tusks and, you know, crystal quests over and over for hours on end, you know? Oh, hello, Malak. How's it going? Is this a private server? It is. It is Levistras. I mean, it's a public private server. It's not my private server. So you can play on this server if you wish. It's Levistras. Good server. Is this the key to this? Nope. Hmm. Was that like the wrong? Yeah, the key doesn't fit this lock. Where are the other keys? You never played AC? Oh, really? Well, it's a great game. My favorite game. We were just talking about it. And I'm trying to find this key where I'm having some difficulties. Ooh, wait. Brain is getting a transmission from vague memories. There's a rat. A singular rat that drops a key. It's like these rats that were in here. They didn't have keys, though. Would it be these rats? I don't know. Let's check some rat. Yeah, large silver rat. That's it. Brain blast. I did it. The key doesn't fit the lock. Oh, those things are hurting me as well. Okay, so we need another key. So that's where one key is. We have one key. This key led over to here, or at least it let us open this. I didn't see any key down there, though. Because this is the only door we've... Have I been using the wrong key this whole time? I have been, haven't I? Yeah, because this is the key for the last dungeon. This is the key for this dungeon. Dang it, me. But yeah, I don't recognize the acronym UO, and I don't recognize Anarchy Online either, actually. But yeah, Asheron's Call was my first MMO. I have played it a lot in my life. Please don't kill me, rats. Please do not kill me. They're high-level rats. Ultima Online. Oh, right. I have heard of that. Never played it. But yeah, if you're looking for another MMO to play, I would definitely suggest trying out Asheron's Call. It was a very big game back in its heyday, and nowadays it's kept alive by its still very dedicated community. Very nice experience, if I do say so myself. I'm overburdened. Why? Why'd you have to weakness me? Okay, well, we go this way, and then I think now that we have another key, we should be able to move forward. So we go through this door here. This guy's gonna hit me so often because I have this going. I don't have a dispel, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. Doesn't fit the lock. How about this one? Nice. The beta test of Asheron's Call 2? Yeah. I remember Asheron's Call 2. I tried it for like a day. Is this the same key? Dang it. How about this one? Dang it. There's a key I'm missing. Well, luckily all these keys have a lot of uses, so I can kind of trial and error things. Where's the other key? Because I went down there and I didn't see anything. Didn't find any keys. It was so unoptimized. I believe only a few people could actually run it well. Yeah, that was pretty much my issue with the game as well, is that not like unoptimized in terms of computer performance, because I played it later on, not close to the start of it, but it was I felt it was unoptimized as in like game mechanics. I was so used to the first game that when I played the other one, it was like it didn't feel like a sequel. It kind of felt like they went backwards. Which is, you know, part of going into that, you know, old man shaking his fist at the young kids these days thing, is like, I feel like a lot of people played Asheron's Call 2 because it just, the graphics were slightly different, and not because it was actually a quality game. You know, it was just a game with the label Asheron's Call on it, and so people played it because it looked better, but it didn't feel the same to me. It felt really clunky. So as I said, I only played it for like a day and then left. Came back to Asheron's Call 1 and never stopped. Focused too much on the new graphical engine. The rest of the game was so bare bones. I know, yeah, it is a shame. I really wish there was an Asheron's Call 2 that you know, I could be proud of and could play. But they never really came through with that. So let's see. Are there any items nearby? No, not really. There might be some way at the end there. But it also doesn't seem like there's any unique enemies down here. I mean, Banderling Ogre, that's a regular enemy. Should I just look up where the key is? I've been trying not to. I've been trying to just rely on vague memory to get through the dungeon, but it's still just... Are you another large rat, or are you just a regular rat? You're just a regular silver rat. Okay. Because usually the key enemies have like a special name, or a special look, or both. I haven't seen that on any other enemies. This is just a regular dredge slave. Regular rats. There was the large rat where we got the other key. The other key must unlock something. Oh wait, down here. This room. I remember this room. For some reason. Either one of the enemies in here drops the key, or the key is down past them. But, it's kind of nice to be going through a dungeon just kind of confused and not just knowing exactly where I'm going. Because, the game is very much about solving puzzles. Key puzzles, jumping puzzles, stuff such as that. So, is it in the chest, do you think? So yeah, sometimes it's nice to not know everything. But for the most part, I like knowing everything in the game. Let's go down here and see what's going on. Unless this is the... I remember now. Do I have all the keys I need for this? Ebos, wish me luck. Oh, did they replace them? They might have replaced them. Okay. Whew. Okay. Back when the game was live, they replaced those golems down there. I'm fairly certain. I remember distinctly. They replaced those golems down there with level 60 granite golems, and I would not be much of a threat to them. And they sometimes trying to run through there would kind of corner you if you forgot where you're going, and they would one-shot you. It was not fun. That's why I was like, wish me luck, because that place, I have just PTSD of running down there in the live version of the game and getting destroyed by granite golems. I don't know why they did that, why they completely just threw super high level enemies in there, but I feel like they shouldn't have. I feel like that was a calculated error on their part, but it is how the game was. I am glad that's not how it is right now. Let's get the thing. I don't think we need the treasure chest key. I don't remember what that's for. But we have what we need for the quest, so we're getting out of here. We just dodge all these guys' stuff. Needs to be a challenge even early on in the gameplay. I mean, true, but granite golems are not the right challenge. Ugh. And actually, these dungeons are challenging. I may not be making it seem like it, except for getting lost for half an hour in there, but really, these two dungeons are the first dungeons I usually die in. Generally not this one. This one's not as difficult, but the Dagger of Tukola quest that we did last, like earlier, that is definitely the first challenge, because you have to deal with the Mosswort shamans that cast spells. Those things are terrifying. You have to deal with the liches, which are even higher level and cast spells. Absolutely terrifying. You have to deal with the limestone golems, which hit hard and cast spells. There are the Sclavis at the end, which we got really lucky because they didn't cast any significant number of spells at us, but those things spam spells sometimes, and they hit hard, and they're higher level than you are at that point, usually. So, Dagger of Tukola is usually the place that I die first. I got lucky on this character, and I boosted my endurance on this character, so we have a mega ton of health. So, yeah, it's definitely because I'm used to Asheron's Call. Most of the time, even I die in this dungeon. And I don't know, some people that are better at the game than me might scoff at that and be like, what a loser, he dies in Dagger of Tukola, but to me, that is the first big challenge. The granite golems, you don't need granite golems to challenge someone at this level. Those things were just unfair. It was literally like you could not kill them at this level unless you had level 7 buffs from a buff bot, which is just not the way that I like to play the game anymore. Uh, but yes, Halls of the Helm, very fun. I'm way over. I should have thought about this. It'll be fine. We're fine. Anyway, yeah. So I definitely make some of these look easy because most of these I have memorized through and through, except for the other one where I didn't have any. I didn't have lock picking, so I couldn't use my memorized route at all. This one I still have memorized, but we're gonna need to take our time with it because I'm way overburdened. I could just drop it. If things get dangerous, I'll just drop that. But until then, we'll just go with it and see if I can find a mana stone. Because if I can use the mana stone on that, then I can get rid of it safely. Oh, goodness gracious. Good sir, could you die? Please. And thank you. You're big and scary. This is one of the custom enemies on Levistras. He drops this thing, which is a lot better than mine, so I'm going to be using that. I can't use that. Why can't I use that? Is it Arcane Lore? Yeah, 75. That's fine. We'll just do that. So, Ebos, just because you probably don't know, Arcane Lore is a skill that you learn. I think you start with it. Yeah, you always start with it trained. But you need an amount of Arcane Lore always to activate things. And so this requires 75 Arcane Lore so you can use the buffs that are on it. So, there's that. Little Asheron's Call knowledge. Did you have a Mana Stone? You do not. But this thing's a pretty decent early game wand, so I know that from my previous encounters of playing Levistras. I haven't played a whole lot, but I've certainly played a couple characters through the early game. So I know a thing or two about the new stuff they added. And he's dead, okay. Yeah, sadly this isn't like, what is Biting Strike? That's why it does good damage. Biting Strike, on the game's map, there's a black circle in the bottom left. What's that about? Like, this map or this map? Because this map is a black circle, but I don't see any black circle anywhere on the map here. The world map? Oh, the world map, like out here. You mean this circle or this circle? I guess you'd mean this one. This place is very interesting. This is the Obsidian Plains. It's called that because it's black and is covered in obsidian, and I'm pretty sure it's an impact crater or something. It's basically the Varindi, which are basically like energy based aliens. They and they basically they inhabit like coats, so they have coats and sickles, but they don't really have a physical form. They just kind of they're kind of energy beings, and so they came to the planet, and they, I think, either like crashed here or they did some experiment or thing here that caused widespread destruction. And it also made like all these cliffs around it to be big jagged spines. As you can see, it's like just a little area of high elevation, and it's just all these spikes all over the place. So it's a really like obliterated region. It is not very a very healthy part of the world at all. Um, but has a lot of lore around it. I'm not 100% sure about a lot of it, sadly. But yeah, essentially aliens. Most of the enemies in the game are actually aliens. It is a little hard to explain, but these are purple. Um, but way back at the start of the game's lore, basically like the center of the game's lore, is Asheron. And Asheron was a powerful mage on his home planet. I don't remember what his planet was called, but that's where the Empyreans are from. They were Asheron's people, and when Asheron was dealing with portal magic, you know, he was at like the forefront of a new type of magic that would cause people to be able to like transport between places no matter how distant they are through portals, kind of just warpings in space-time. And he accidentally, you know, just whoopsie doodle, opened a portal to the Ulthoi homeworld. And he didn't, I don't think he knew what the Ulthoi were at the time until they came to his planet. But the Ulthoi are basically mostly sentient insectoids that essentially take over entire planets. Like, have you ever played Halo? You know, the Flood? They're kind of like the Flood, but insects. And so they have a hive mind, they have a queen, and they are absolutely terrifying enemies. And so he opened a portal to their planet on accident, and they ended up destroying his entire planet and just taking it over. And so to defend his people, he ended up sending a bunch of the Empyreans into portal space so that they would be safe from the Ulthoi until he could figure out a new planet for them to be on and, you know, get the whole situation figured out. And so what Asheron's Call is, not the game, but what they named the game after, the actual call, was pretty much Asheron making a ton of portals to a bunch of places, and those portals ended up calling a bunch of people, and like people just wander through the portals trying to figure out what they are, and they would end up in Dareth. Ow. My good man, can you not take 99% of my HP with one spell? Thank you very much. Anyways, yeah, so the people would just end up in Dareth, and they wouldn't really know what's going on, but they usually would not be able to just return through the same portal. So a ton of people were basically called here or accidentally stumbled here through the portals that Asheron made, trying to resolve the whole issue with the Ulthoi and figure everything out. And Ulthoi also came here. We fight them later. But actually, if you look at this map, it looks pretty huge, right? Like, you know, you have an entire town that's this, and then you zoom out and that's just a little dot here, and you can wander up and down this whole map. You know, there's mountain ranges, and they're just little blips on the map. You'd think, you know, this is a huge map, right? Well, this is one island. It's not even a continent. This is an island. This is like, I don't know, maybe New Zealand sized, but probably smaller compared to the rest of the world. So it is like absolutely insane, the scale of the world, but everyone comes here through those portals. That's how the character themselves get here too. And so that's kind of the basic lore. Where was I going with this? Something about Asheron? You're wondering if there were more land masses? There are. If there ever was a major expansion to the game or a sequel to the game that was actually like, you know, very close gameplay wise to how the game is supposed to be, I would want them to explore the other land masses of this planet, because there are even like there are a bunch of rare items that you can get, and each one has like a little blurb of lore on them. If you're ever on the wiki, you should check them out. There's a whole thing of them, you know, rare weapons, rare armor, and they have the most interesting lore blurbs about them. And so very interesting stuff. And in those, you even see things like a couple rare items are probably more powerful than anything you find in this area. Let me just drop this. It's weighing me down too much. I was hoping to find a mana stone, but I think I've been distracted and I probably missed a couple. But anyway, you find these rare items that are better than most of what you have here in this entire game, and yet at the same time, those items are described as like just a bow from one of these corsairs. that sail in this ocean or this sea on this planet. And it's like, if you look at that, it's like, this is an uber good item, and yet it's normal. This is just like a regular military grade weapon for this group of people. And that's amazing. It's like we are not the center of the universe here. We, as the player, it's not like one of my biggest pet peeves in like WoW or Final Fantasy 14. It's like all the time they're always like, it is the hero of destiny, the most powerful person in the world that must save the world every weekend or they'll be bored. But in Asheron's Call, it's like, no, you're just some loser. You're some guy. You're no hero of destiny. People send you on freaking fetch quests all the time. Like, and even regular items from bandits and pirates from other worlds and other regions of this world are like uber good compared to you. And like if you tried to fight those guys, you would be outmatched in every single capacity. So it's awesome just how small that makes you feel and how much progression it makes you feel that there is. Uh, so first thing that I would want is, you know, either to completely remake the game and make it so that there's good consistent a good consistent spread of quests through all level brackets, or just to add another continent, you know, elsewhere in relation to Dareth that you can go to, and that would have a bunch of quests and maybe even increase the level cap and just put a ton of content out there. Like personally, I was thinking like if I go to heaven, if I die and I'm in heaven and they don't have Asheron's Call that's like procedurally generated and there's just infinite Asheron's Call content to enjoy, I'll be upset. I'll be upset. I cannot imagine existing forever in a paradise that does not have Asheron's Call. Like it just that would be torture to me. I couldn't live there. I'd just be like, just send me back to Earth. I want to play Asheron's Call. Come on. So yeah, that's what I would want, is to be able to explore one of the other continents and have a bunch of cool progression and new levels, new quests, new enemies. So that is what I would want, either in a sequel or just an update to the game, or if they have procedurally generated Asheron's Call in Heaven, that's what I want. So that would be so cool, especially because I'm pretty sure the other continents are controlled primarily. Why did I pick this up? I mean, it might be useful because I still don't have many. I need to update my spells pretty soon here, but it will be fine. We might not be fine. The boss at the end of this dungeon is super dangerous. Who cares? We're too busy talking to worry about danger. Um, where was I going with that? I got off track because I remembered that we are in mortal peril. But yes, very good game. I wish there was more of it. More quests, more places to go, more things to do. Oh yeah, the other continents in the lore, I believe, they have a bunch of undead, or maybe the people groups that became the undead. I know that there's like continents. I think the northern continent is filled with Rushk, which are pretty much like uh northern people, just I don't know how you describe Rushk. They're kind of weird, but they are, I guess, closest real world example you could give to them is probably just being like Eskimo type people, but also they have like magic. And okay, imagine if like Eskimos and the Aztecs were put together. Like, you have Eskimos that are given friggin' blood sacrifices on altars. That's pretty much what those are. His DLCs, then those would have to be immense DLCs, because if you had the same density of things, like if you zoom in on the map anywhere, you see housing things, you see this random thing here, you see dungeons, you see life stones and towns and everything. If you had the same density of content on any of the other continents, Like Dareth is tiny compared to the other continents. There you could probably fit like 40 Dareths across on any one of those other continents, and then you have the other dimension, you know. So it's like there's just so much land. It's probably like 200 times the size of this. So if you were to unlock any of those other areas as like DLC or what have you, you would need some absolutely crazy amount of content. That's why I was saying like in the afterlife, because that's probably the only place that you would be able to set up a system that could fill such an area with actual content. Do I lose my focus and self? Do I still have focus and self. Okay, that's good. Very good. We need more strength. Do we have money for strength? We do. Okay, now we're good. All right. So yeah, the other land masses, absolutely massive. Would be impossible for any human team to fill those in the next few decades, probably. But, you know, it's all good. I like the game as is. That's just if there was more content to the game, if somebody could, you know, expand it extremely, that is the direction I think that they would go, or I would hope that they would go. I actually don't know where Asheron's Call 2 takes place, lore-wise, and what the land masses are for it and everything, but I, I don't think it's the other continents, because that's just way too much space, unless they lowered the scale of everything, which would be really not good, because this map is really big, and it's something that I'm very proud of with the Asheron's Call map, because it's huge. It's like almost up there with Daggerfall levels of real world size. If you ever see one of those maps that's like fictional map comparison videos, Asheron's Call is like one of those ones that's like, I don't know, fifth on the list, like right close to the bottom. And that's always very impressive to me. I always like that. Alright, so we need to grab one of these, and one of these, move this way. So yeah, I love the game though. And the lore. The lore is so good. It's like there's just so much in-depth stuff to every facet of the lore. And the enemies are cool. None of them are like even remotely similar to things we have in the real world, other than, you know, the giant rats and rabbits and stuff. But most of the enemies, like Shreths, Drudges, it's like you just don't see creatures like that in the real world, so they're very much disconnected, and I like that. I guess other games like WoW have that too, but it's a very different thing in here. Let's use this. We use that key to get another key. We mail that key to ourselves. Alright, then we go this way again. SM. I don't know, I feel like I've played too much WoW recently, because my mind immediately is like, they have Scarlet Monastery here? But I don't think that's what they're trying to say. Because I don't think they recreated all of Scarlet Monastery in Asheron's Call. Because how would that even work lore-wise? But yeah, the uh what is it? The enemy factions that are on the other areas, it's like the Daracost and other such factions, which became, I don't know, they became the main like undead factions. Because I know the Daracost are usually undead when you see them in the game, and I don't know if they have to be. I think they were like a group of regular people before they became undead, but they were like a very powerful group, so when they died, they somehow, you know, maintained their life even through death. So and I think a couple continents, or at least one continent, is entirely controlled by the Daracost, another one by the Rooshk, which would be terrifying, having like a DLC where you're just on an entire continent ruled by the Rooshk, because those guys are kind of scary. Not only to fight, but also just lore-wise, they're kind of brutal. Um, and then other continents full of just completely overrun by undead. Not mindless undead like these guys, but actually, intelligent undead, ones that are masters of magic. It could be incredibly dangerous. Flaticot might also have a continent, but I kind of feel like it was one was Daracost and one was the one with the Y. I think it's like Yelani, something like that. I don't know how it's pronounced nor spelled. I forget. But I think they had one of the continents as well. So yeah, very very cool lore. Big world. Because in like WoW, you're playing through the entire world, like multiple continents of it. But here, they're like, nah, you're not traveling all over the world. You're just on one little island. You're just some little loser, little insect just running around on one island. You don't know what the rest of the world holds. You don't know what secrets, what powers, what quests, what dungeons, the rest of the entire world, let alone other worlds. Like, the only time you ever leave this island, as far as I know, is when you go to Burr. And Burr is another planet where the Burren come from. Big surprise, I know. And so it's like, it's an interesting place, but you only go to like a couple cave systems on Burr. You don't even fully explore like the entire planet. You don't even get to see the surface. There might not even be a surface now that I think about it, because I think it's a really cold planet. But yeah, it's like, it's absolutely insane, the scale of everything here, and just how much they could have expanded it, but didn't, Because I mean, as I said, nobody could fill that much space. So, I love the game. Every time I play the game, I usually end up talking about it until my voice is completely gone. Like, even now, it's only been almost 3 hours, and my voice is like dying because I've just been talking non-frickin' stop about just how amazing the game is. Because that's just how I do, That's when you're passionate about a game, you can't just not sing its praises. Hydrate. I shouldn't I? Let me just hide in this corner over here so the guy can't kill me. But in all actuality, this guy probably will kill me. I am resigned to that fate. It probably will happen. Ugh. I didn't get any of my new spells. He has a lightning sword. Ow. That was a crit. Okay, we're fine. I was like, is that just a regular hit? Are we gonna... Is this our life? Now that was a regular hit. Nope. Don't you do that again. Get out of line of sight. Heal up a bit. Smack him around a bit. Try to avoid his attacks. Fail miserably. Don't hit me with that. Okay, you hit me with that. I need better healing spells. Oh, resisted. Thank you. Ow. But you see how sometimes he... Ow, crit. Stop critting, my man. I'm almost out of mana. Please die. Thank you. Oh. You see how I really thought I was not going to win that. I was like, man, this is not going to go well. This is a dumb idea of mine. But we somehow pulled out a victory. Just barely. You saw that I almost died like 10 times. Like every spell he did. How much did his spells hit for? 61 damage. Oh, if any of those spells crit, we would have been obliterated. Like, just absolute. They were already doing greater than half of my health every hit. If they crit, which makes them do double damage, hoo boy. That would have been, like, even if I was at max health, I would have been one shot. But, it's behind us now. We're fine. Don't give it to the door. Give it to this loser. Give me my XP. I'm gonna put this on. All right, gimme. There we go. Lots of XP. Very good. We need to go update our spells. We need to go sell so we're not overburdened all the time. I've just been doing these quests while completely zoning out, fangirling about the lore and other things about the game. But we need to actually go and do things that are healthy for our character, like getting better spells, clearing their inventory, not talking until my voice is just absolutely dead, because it kind of is dead. Oh yeah, the lore is so good. I love it. And I feel like the lore stayed rather consistent throughout all the changes to the game. Like in, I think some of these are better. Is this better? No, it gives. I don't think that armor would be better than these. How about this? Probably not better. No, those we can probably just get rid of. Uh, but like in WoW, the lore kind of changes to some degree throughout the different iterations and the different expansions, and they can kind of retcon things throughout the process of the updates. But in Asheron's Call, as far as I can tell, the game stayed rather true to its original plot line. um oh, and if you're at all interested, I would implore you to go and watch the original, uh like, what are they, trailers, the original trailers for the game, because those trailers are very cool. The first one is about a person stepping through one of Asheron's portals and then getting stuck on Dareth, as I was telling you about earlier. And then, is the healer up here? No. I think the healer is on the balcony, the other stairwell. Um, yeah, and then they get imprisoned by the Ulthoi here, and then they find Asheron and fight back against the Ulthoi. It's like, oh, they're unsellable. Sad. But it's a whole storyline in just like one little trailer. Is really cool. Uh, Not, of course, the highest quality because it was made in 1999 or something, but still very much worth a watch if you're at all interested in the lore of the game. Where's the town crier? Town crier is way out here. So yes, those are very nice. And then the second trailer was for the only major expansion that the game got, which was Throne of Destiny, which is where they added Viamontians, Sanamar, pretty much this entire island system here. None of this was available prior to Throne of Destiny, which came out in 2006, I believe. So all of that was added, including an entire race of people and cities, dungeons, everything. It was really cool. Plus a ton of other updates throughout the world that I can't really keep track of. But it was a lot. So that was good, and that had its own trailer, which involved the history of the Viamonians, how they got here, what they think about the whole situation, how they got off the island, this, that, the other. Also very cool. And actually, I've named a lot of my recent World of Warcraft characters after one of the lore characters in the Viamontian lore, who was Eleonora du Belenès. So, yeah, I tried in WoW to name one of my characters. Who dropped a bow here? I don't use bows. Anyway, I named one of my WoW characters. I was trying to name them Eleonora, but that was taken, sadly. So I just named them Beleness, and that actually worked. So that was nice. And then I named my pet Eleonora. So it was nice. It's a good name. Why did I leave Urak? I need to get level 2 spells, I think. Let me look at spell difficulty. Spells. So for level 3 spells, I need about 176 skill to cast them. We have 186. How about level 4s? That takes 226. Let's go up and get level 3 spells. Where would I buy level 3s? 1 and 2s are in starting towns. I think 4s you can get in Cragstone. Where do you get 3s? That's a good question. I usually don't get 3s. I usually get 2s and then jump up to like 5s or 6s. How do I don't know how I see where I buy these. Let's see, Scrivener. Where are the Scriveners? Oh, 1 through 4 is actually in the main towns. Okay. That's probably why I was having trouble figuring those out. And Cragstone, I think, only has the level 4 item magic, not specifically the higher level stuff. And it says Kalabar has level 5s and Ayan Bakur has level 6s. So it's going to be a while until we get that. Quite a while. So let's see. It said that we should have 1 through 4 here. So let's try to get level 3 spells. These are all apprentice. I think, let me just talk to one. I think apprentice only gives 1s and 2s. No, that's just 1. Maybe the upper level, also apprentice. 2, 2s. Where's the 3s? Probably not in this house. Let's see. I know the void magic one is out here. Oh, and you're just a scrivener. So yeah, you have all the way up through 4s. Cragson has 3 and 4s? Okay. I'll go check there then. Because yeah, it's weird that the wiki says Scriveners 1 through 4 is in Iraq, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I never saw, you know, level 3 and 4 spells in Iraq. Other than apparently void magic, but I didn't expect to find that. So let's go Cragstone and just run over there and see if we can find what we need. It's gonna be expensive though. That's why I've been hoarding all of those essences that we've been picking up, is to have money to buy spells. Because yeah, those sell well, and you kind of need that money as a mage. Everything's getting really expensive. I should get some jump. Because, you know, you're always like, oh, I don't need jump, until you do. And then you really hate yourself for not leveling jump before. Let's see, is it this house? Yeah. Those are the apprentice ones, journeyman ones. That might be what we need. Ooh, and how are our skill credits doing? Only 4. Okay. We're almost there to getting either creature or item. Let's start with war magic. Yeah, you have 3s. Yeah, all 3s. Alright, we're gonna keep it simple, because I don't want to be here all day buying spells. So we'll do just bolts. Is that the middle one? Yeah. They're a little out of sorts sometimes. Let's see, bolt. Bolt. Did that buy? I don't think that bought. No, it didn't. Bolt. Bolt. I think wave. Yeah. And then here, whirling blade. There we are. Let's learn all these. Yeah, our skill barely isn't high enough for level 4s, so I'm gonna get 3s and then probably just use these until 5s or 6s. Because, you know, I usually skip a few levels of spells, usually. Okay, let's just throw these on our bar real quick. We got Shockwave. We'll also need to get the new spell components for this. And then Force Bolt. And we already did fire, so now we need cold. And lightning. And then acid. Okay. And then that's our war magic done. We need a life magic. Scrivener of life magic. Is that only level 4s, or does it have 3s and 4s? Oh no, life magic's here. Okay. Now let's see. We need heal self 3. I don't think we need heal other, but I'll probably grab it just in case we play with someone else. We definitely want to be able to buff ourselves, at least with the protection spells. Let's see. Yeah, we got blade, we got bludgeoning, we get cold, fire, lightning, piercing, and we gotta look through all these. I don't remember which ones of these are important. Mana renewal, we need that. Regenerate and rejuvenate. And then we want stamina to mana, for sure. We want not infused stamina. Not Martyr's tenacity, definitely not. It's over here, revitalize self. I don't know why I forgot that, but that's fine. And then we probably also want debuffs, because we don't have a rended weapon yet. So, which one of these is that? Fire vulnerability other? There. I think I'm just going to go with fire vuln and bludge vuln. Just to keep it simple, because most of the enemies that I'll be fighting that are at all tough nowadays will either be weak to fire or bludgeoning. You know, Tuskers or Ulthoi. So, we'll just stick with those two for the moment. And actually, fire's decent against Ulthoi as well. You just learn all these. It takes a while. Although this is a lot easier than how spell crafting used to be. You know, I don't think I ever played with the old spell creation system, but I still kind of miss it somehow. I always heard about it, and it seemed like such a cool way to go about it. Alright, so let's get our life magic oriented here. I mean, I'm probably just going to use Verindi Tank to buff myself, so I don't need the buffs on my bar, but I do need to replace all my heal self buffs, or heal self spells, with this. Actually, I learned I can just double click that, but then it puts it at the end. That's not more efficient, actually. Okay, got all those in there. And now we officially cannot cast a single spell on our spell bar. Isn't that great? We need to go and get the spell components. We'll put vulns on here. So Ebos, if you're still here, essentially, if you vuln an enemy, it'll reduce their resistances. So this just says increases the damage the target takes from fire by 50%, which is huge. But usually it's not that big a deal because you usually have a rended weapon. And when you rend a weapon, essentially what it means is that you make it so it has an inherent damage bonus as if the enemy had a vuln on them of a certain level that is according to, I think, your weapon skill. So in my case, it would be war magic. You'll be off soon? Yeah. I figured that you would either be gone already or you'd be leaving soon. I'm probably also going to be done after I get all these spells set up, like buying my spell components. But yeah, rendings, very, very important. But these vulns will help me until I get rendings that I can like cast the vuln on an enemy and then hit them with a spell and it'll do 50% more damage, which is absolutely huge against, you know, boss enemies like the ones I was just fighting. So, very important, very good stuff. Let's see, spell components. What do these take? It's copper. Okay. So we need to buy some of those. Also, higher level components or higher level spells use components more often, so I'll need a lot of these. Not that many, but probably like I'll take like 20 scarabs. I should probably just type it in. There we go. And then maybe like 300 tapers. Okay. There we go. That's nice. All right. Do take care of the voice. I will try. I will try indeed. But yeah, we'll leave that at that for today. I did want to get to 20, and I wanted to finish at least Dagger of Tukola today, and we definitely did that. We went above and beyond because I got completely distracted talking about the game and just kind of autopiloted through all the way through Collier. But that's fine. You know, I'm fine with playing more rather than playing less for sure. So yeah, you guys have a good day, and I'll probably be back to this tomorrow because I had a good time. And yeah, I'll see you later, Ebos, and everybody else who is/was here. Goodbye. See you later. Have a good day.